was never wired to learn from short clips seen online and reading brief sentences that sum up much larger books and complex ideas. More than half of the time a teenager is awake, half of it is spent staring at a screen, Horvath told the New York Post. Horvath and other experts speaking to Congress explained that humans evolved to learn best through real human interaction, meaning face-to-face with teachers and peers, not from screens. He added that screens disrupt the natural biological processes that build deep understanding, memory, and focus. It's not about poor implementation, bad training, or needing better apps in school. Scientists said the technology itself was mismatched with how our brains naturally work, grow, and retain information. Horvath, the director of LME Global, a group sharing brain and behavioral research with businesses and schools, said that data clearly shows cognitive abilities started plateauing and even declining around 2010. The expert told senators that schools in general hadn't changed much that year and that human biology evolves too slowly for it to have been the reason. The answer appears to be the tools we are using within schools to drive that learning, Horvath told lawmakers January 15. If you look at the data, once countries adopt digital technology widely in schools, performance goes down significantly. He added that the United States wasn't the only country affected by digital cognitive decline, noting that his research encompassed 80 countries and revealed a 6-decade trend of poorer learning results when more tech entered the classroom. Moreover, kids using computers for just 5 hours a day, specifically for their schoolwork, scored noticeably lower than those who rarely or never use tech in class. In America, data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, uncovered that when states rolled out widespread one-to-one device programs, meaning each student gets their own device, scores often flattened or dropped quickly. While centuries of data have shown that Gen Z has fallen off the path of constant human development, Horvath claimed that many teens and young adults were unaware of their struggles and were actually proud of their alleged intelligence. Most of these young people are overconfident about how smart they are. The smarter people think, let me redo that. Most of these young people are overconfident about how smart they are. The smarter people think they are, the dumber they actually are, he told the Post. He noted that Gen Z has become so comfortable with consuming information outside of class through short, attention-escaping sentence clips on platforms such as TikTok. Many schools have given and now teach in this same manner. What do kids do on computers? They skim. So rather than determining what do we want our children to do and gearing education towards that, we are redefining education to better suit the tool. That's not progress. That is surrender, Horvath warned. Educational experts at the January hearing recommended imposing delays on giving children smartphones, bringing back flip phones instead for young children when needed, and taking nationwide action to normalize limits on tech in schools. The group called the issue plaguing Gen Z a societal emergency and urged federal lawmakers to consider models like Scandinavia's ed tech bans. So there you have it. Gen Z is the first generation ever in 125 years to be dumber and have less of an IQ than their parents. And the link is up top. Good. Oh, good. It filled in. Good. I'm John Kitover. Hello, JCC. And hello, Violet. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Good morning. We have our first non-mod that wants to come up. Cool, good, I'm glad. Let's say hello to Drills. Hi, Drills. What's going on? Just reading the top Jumbotron article.
That's the article you put in our group chat.
That is the article that I put in our group chat last night. And the reason why I said, Alfonso, here's something for you, is because Alfonso is our mod squad expert in neurology, neuroscience. Yes. But of course, it's for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a really interesting article. My own personal experience, we limited our children's, they did not have their own iPads until they were about 12. And then they had a lot of parental restrictions. My oldest daughter didn't get her cell phone until she was 14 when she started high school. We did try to limit devices for them, just, trying to interact with them instead. That was our plan.
Well, my kids are millennials. They were born in 89 and 92. So, they're the generation just before the Gen Z.
Yeah, I'm technically a millennial too. I'm at the very top end of the start of the spectrum. I feel more like a Gen Z, but maybe not, because I'm a smart lady. No, I'm just kidding.
And I'm a baby boomer, tail end of the baby boomer, but I'm a baby boomer.
I think I'm a baby boomer, 64.
Yeah, I think baby boomer is like 1950 to 1965, I think. I'm not certain of that.
What about kids that were born in the 40s? I always heard they were called war babies.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, because baby boomers started in 45, 46, because it was like right when everybody got drafted, you saw a massive influx of births that started the baby boomer generation. That wasn't until I think Steve, you were about right, 65-ish.
Yeah,
I think it was about that 20-year span.
Yeah. The generation before that's called the silent generation. That's my shit.
Yeah.
I'm glad I was born in 64 because in the 70s I was like old enough to know the music. It's like I grew up in the 70s and early 80s when the music was the bomb. Google just told me that the boomer generation is 1946 to 1964.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I have a theory that whatever music was around when you reach purity, that's like 13, that kind of imprints what music you like.
I would say that's very close, if not accurate. I find it the music you listen to in high school is what imprints you the most, but that's pretty close.
I listen to The Doors a lot. I don't know if many people here did, but I remember I knew every word to every Doors song.
Yeah, I listen to classic rock. I listen to classic rock and the beginning of rock in the 1950s.
See, I do too, but not really classical rock. My main scheme is like glam metal or like the hair metal rock from the 80s. That's about my region of intrigue.
Absolutely. And did you listen to that in high school?
Actually, my father introduced it to me when I was 6. So, I mean, I've been listening to it for quite a big portion of my life. But when I was in high school, I also started to expand into like EDM or like
grunge. No.
Not really grunge. No, I was never really big into grunge, but more like EDM stuff. Yeah, that was more like high school. But that's more, Gen Z, because I was born in 2002. So I'm a bit of a young compared to you guys, I imagine. So.
Well, compared to most people on Clubhouse, I'm an old fart.
I got to be.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I think you're right that most people kind of stays with their house, the music that they're listening to in high school.
Yeah.
But not all. But exactly because not me, because I was totally into electronic music back then. It was Depeche Mode, Alphaville, a lot of German bands from 242, EBM music even. That's different from EDM. EBM. But then I went back to the 60s, so I went totally Beatles, David Bowie, and that's kind of where I'm still at. Huge Paul Simon fan, right? So it's kind of backtracked.
Paul Simon is a solo artist, or?
I actually like him better solo.
Oh, okay. See, I'm the reverse. I mean, I appreciate Paul Simon's talent, but I like Simon and Garfunkel better than I like him by himself, mostly.
Good morning, atheists. I mean, I came in this room, whatever. I see how religious people wake up. I want to see how the atheists wake up. Like, I was like, good morning. I see y'all got good energy. You wouldn't whoever said that people be stuck on their music they heard in high school, because I know that when I got married, wedding, playing like jams back in my time, like it's hard basically to listen to like some newer music. I guess for me, we get that, or we like, man, all the new music is garbage for some reason. But don't get me wrong, we do grow a little bit. I mean, it's like that, but however, we do kind of like stick to like our stomping grounds to I don't know what the highlight, like time stamp highlight of our lives. We're like, yeah, everything about it was cool, but if for some reason we kind of sway to whatever genre or this that it is, unless you have some kind of religious experience or something, where you just start to hate your own music. But however, somebody listens to the same music.
Well, that sounds pretty real. Good morning.
It's also kind of sad people can't appreciate any new music at all.
Well, who said people can't appreciate new music? Who said that?
No, I did, but...
Okay, all right, okay.
No, I'm not about you. I'm just saying some people...
I didn't think you were talking about me, but when you said it's sad that people can't appreciate new music, I just, that's a new one. Go ahead.
Because the new artists are living in a new time. They are representing a new era, and I think it's really interesting to hear how they sound and what they are trying to say. I'm kind of a lyrics person, so.
Are
our rest day is not Saturday, it's Sunday. So we kind of changed it a little bit with Christ. So they're not exactly how he said. We have established a belief after the fact. So, we reconcile this with saying that
That's not a contradiction.
we venerate, well, part of it is, right?
No, because the seventh
It says to follow the Ten Commandments. And how do we follow the Ten Commandments if we don't observe the Sabbath?
Because we do observe the Sabbath. That's not. So when did you start? So Sabbath
Is the Sabbath on Saturday or Sunday?
The Sabbath is the seventh day.
You see how we changed it? Sunday is the beginning of the week.
Okay.
The seventh day.
So the seventh day starting.
That's going to be Constantine. Constantine was the one who established that for us. So you have to be honest. You have to be honest if you're a Christian to say, "Hey, listen, we observe the Sabbath," when we really don't. We're saying we observe the day of rest. So that's what we're going to say, right? The day of rest is Sunday.
So when is the Sabbath? Sunday is not a day of rest.
The Sabbath is
Friday night.
as it always
Friday
been.
night.
That's the Sabbath. That's the Sabbath.
You keep going on and you're not able to understand that Sabbath is the seventh day. So which is the seventh day starting Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Yes. What is the seventh?
Starting the week is Tuesday.
Yeah, but starting Tuesday, which is the seventh day, sorry.
No, that's not how the Sabbath is calculated. You have from Friday night to Saturday night. That's how the Shabbat always been kept. You can't now come and change. Oh, how we started on Sunday, we keep the Shabbat. Like, you can't do that.
Constantine switched that and made any change.
Yeah,
It's a contradiction if they don't admit the change.
right, exactly.
It's dishonesty. I would call it contradiction. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, dishonesty. Right.
Dishonest at all.
Well, it is dishonest because you still buy and sell on Sunday. You're not Jesus died and resurrected. They didn't say, "Oh, we don't gotta keep the Shabbat. We know we rest in Jesus." That's a Christianity made up thing.
It's a Christian thing, bro. So you got to be honest that in the Council of Nicaea we changed the dates. And we established the hour.
I disagree with
we
that.
established when Constantine, and I mean, not really, but I mean, the Council of Nicaea kind of solidified the Christian.
Yeah, because they wanted to separate Christianity from Judaism.
Exactly.
That's why they did that.
And that's how we did it. So
not the Christian belief. What are you guys? You're not even Christian.
So we believe modified. We believe.
So here
the
we have
Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments, really.
So here we have a Judaizer. What are you, Megatron?
I'm not a Judaizer.
No,
I'm Catholic.
Megatron. You're not Catholic.
Yes, I am.
You are a Judaism, though.
You're not Catholic.
Let's be honest. Also, Scripture has Sunday worship, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we have Sunday worship doesn't replace the Shabbat. That's the point.
Because we're not have rest of the Lord. So was man made for the Sabbath, or was the Sabbath made for man?
Bro, you're not gonna change God's law.
How about you?
The Shabbat. If you believe Jesus is God, you should follow the Shabbat.
Okay, listen, Judaizer. How about
I'm a fair point.
Don't say that.
Moshe doesn't have a point.
When Jesus gave the law, yet you contradict Jesus' law, but
you answer my simple
Make it
question.
sense.
Does God say that man was made for the Sabbath, or that the Sabbath was made for man?
Yo, I'm honest.
you know what that means?
Perfect.
And you know what that means?
Yeah,
You know what that means?
What that means, yes.
Oh, so what does it mean? It doesn't mean you get to break the Shabbat.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't. Okay, what is the
No, it
Shabbat?
doesn't. If you break the Shabbat, you're a sinner. That's what you do.
You see what happens? Hey, give me 1 second, hey. You see when I'm honest about it? You see when I'm honest about this? They say that I'm not. They say I'm not a Catholic.
What is rest?
But you're not a Catholic. You're not in line with the
Megatron, they like to come up Muslims, but one thing I respect Muslims, at least they obey their religion.
Well,
They don't make them.
Yes, we do. That's very true. Yes,
They don't, yeah, a Muslim's not going to eat pork. A Christian's going to eat pork and say, oh, we can eat pork. Jesus never said
how the
that we
fuck
can
are these guys Christian?
No, I mean, they're not. One of them's mother is literally a Jew. The other wants to be a Jew, and the third, I don't even know. So.
Yeah, they're definitely.
If you want to know why Christians, actual Christians, unlike you guys, why we celebrate Sabbath on Sunday, that's because Jesus rested on the Sabbath. That's why the Jews had the Sabbath free time. At the same time, we celebrate the resurrection. Because
but the resurrection doesn't change the Shabbat.
So that you may learn.
You actually want to know? No, I don't need to learn from someone that doesn't know what they're talking about.
Well, for you
to even say us real Christian, first of all, Christianity was started by Jews. The first Christians were Jews that kept the Torah. You're not gonna change. First of all, let me just finish my point. The first Christians were Jews. The first Christians kept the Shabbat. The first Christians didn't eat pork. Exactly. So you just say you're not a real Christian. You're not a real Christian because you don't keep the law. That's the point. The first Christians kept the law. That's the point. Stop eating pork. Stop breaking the Sabbath and call yourself a Christian. You're not a follower of Christ. Follow Jesus. Jesus didn't eat pork. Jesus didn't break the Sabbath.
Would you say Peter is a real Jew and a Christian? Of course. Okay, so she doesn't know. She doesn't even know. Peter ate pork though.
No, he didn't. You're talking about Acts 10. It's a vision that basically God said, see, you're Muslim, you don't even know. It was a vision that God showed him. Wait, let me respond to the Muslims. And I respond to the Muslims because he asked me a question.
I'm not. No, but
you just said you was a Shia Muslim.
I was trolling you.
Oh, whatever.
Everybody knows it, but it's actually
okay. I thought you was a Shia Muslim.
Oh, I thought you was a Muslim.
No, but if you're a Christian, you know that he didn't eat nothing. It was a vision, and Peter himself said, I never ate anything
Why did he
clean.
give you that vision?
Oh my! To show that the Gentiles are cleansed. The vision was never about food. It was to show that the Gentiles could enter the covenant and be just like the Jew.
So based on what?
Read verse 28.
Based on what?
Read verse 28.
Muslims don't read in context like they don't.
Read verse 28. It's a vision. And this is what I'm saying. If Jesus, first of all, if Jesus in Matthew 7, right? And Mark 7 and Matthew 15. You guys can't cut me the scriptures because one thing I know the Bible. So Mark 7 and Matthew 15, if Jesus made all food clean, no, Lord, I never ate anything unclean. Did Peter miss the email?
Because that's right.
Oh, so Peter missed the email.
There's a very simple explanation.
Oh, yeah. Bro, I don't want to hear nothing from Christian America. Make Christianity Jewish again.
Shut up. We heard you.
Yo, they're Muslims. They're not Christian. They're Muslim.
Oh my God. Anyway.
First of all, Jeffrey, I never told you to shut up. So if you're going to come and disrespect me, you're going to get kicked out. Because I told you to shut up. Right, so you don't have to be disrespectful. Because I didn't make any...
You're already a spiritual empty, so like, why would I care?
Megatron, I don't have time for your friends, bro.
They're just saying, so I can't have this.
Hey, if they disrespect you, just kick them out. If they're being rude. I mean, I didn't kick him, I just put him in the audience.
No, but kick us out because you can't have a convo, clearly. So now. What's the big deal? Just do it.
Oh, bro, you do what the fuck you want to do. I don't really care.
Well, we're unable to have a convo because you keep blabbering.
No, I was literally defending Megatron's point before you guys started calling him a big Catholic because you guys...
No, you just keep going.
You just said something. I gotta respond. What the fuck?
I don't know. I'm saying you're a Judaizer and you don't even know why.
You can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't care what you call me. The fact is, the law still stands. Jesus says, "Take not a come to abolish the law or the prophets." So Jesus didn't abolish the law. That's the point. So you can do your Christian tactics to call me a Judaizer, but the point is, at the end of the day, he's gonna tell you, "Depart from me, you work of lawlessness," because you don't keep the law of God. That's the point.
Or you can actually have a convo.
I'm not interested in having a convo for real. So you're really wasting your time.
There's other people in this room, right?
Okay, you can talk to them. You don't gotta talk to me.
I never intended to talk to you.
Oh, so why are you responding to me?
Rabbi, because I have a question for you, Rabbi.
I don't think so.
What's up, Benny?
Rabbi, what was the point of the council in Acts where they decided that Gentiles won't abide by the dietary laws?
Does what?
Acts 15 is talking
Oh
about.
my God, she came.
No, I'm not talking to you. Hey, I have a
He's
question
talking
for
to me.
Rabbi.
Oh,
I said
sorry.
I have a question for Rabbi.
I didn't hear you say that. Sorry.
Not only is she Judaizer, but she's also deaf. Alright, what's up, Benny Adam?
Yeah, so what was the point in Acts, in the council, in the book of Acts, when it decided that the Gentiles won't abide by the dietary laws?
Because of Acts 10.
Some Christian,
The Sabbath is a pre-type of why do we have the Sabbath to begin with? The day of rest. Well, because the Lord rested on that day, and on the day after He resurrected, which is the day we celebrate. The reason why we have the Sabbath is because of the resurrection day, and that's the point of the Sabbath. Jesus rested on that day. This is the Christian belief. If you don't understand it, or if you don't agree with it, that's totally fine. But that's the Christian belief. I don't know why that's so dumb. Especially when you guys have like King Baldwin's pictures and act like you're Catholic. You have no.
I've never been Catholic.
No one's talking to you. But
Yeah, well, you're talking to me because you spoke about the photo that I have. So no, because you were talking to me, so I'm going to respond. I am not a Catholic. First of all, no, because you spoke about me. You should have shut the fuck up. Because if you're speaking about my photo, I'm going to respond. Thank you. So I'm not a Catholic. The only person that I know to be a Catholic here is Megatron. I've said several times, I am a Messianic too. Okay, I am not a Catholic. And if you don't want to call me a Christian either, I really don't care. So I don't follow the Christianity you follow. Certainly.
Actually, you don't. I'm talking to Megatron, who claims that he does. I'm not a Catholic, by the way. But what are you, though? I'm Orthodox, of course.
Christian Orthodox or what?
Yeah, it's a different branch of Christianity.
It is Christian.
So what kind of Orthodox Christian?
Like, if you claim to be Catholic,
Not Catholics.
must be at least knowledgeable about Catholic.
So are you Eastern or Oriental?
Eastern.
Okay.
See?
Yes. Two different things.
They're not the same. All I'm saying is, if you claim to be Oriental, or if you claim to be Eastern, or if you claim to be Catholic, you must at least know the teachings, right?
So, Rabbi, can I ask you something?
Why do I believe A, B, and C? You must at least know why, right?
She said Messianic Jewish.
I'm not talking to her.
So, Rabbi, you're Orthodox, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Like me, I'm Oriental. Okay, so we don't eat pork. Okay, we don't do all of that. We follow the Jewish tradition when it comes to dietary.
Orientals don't do that.
Yes, we do. We don't.
He's saying that he's Oriental and he does it.
Yeah, but
Makes sense.
No. But it's not a sin to eat pork. It's not a sin to eat pork.
Orientals don't do that. Like, what
Yeah,
kind of
we
Oriental
don't do that.
You don't eat pork as a matter of custom, but you still must.
What kind of Oriental are you?
Ethiopian.
Ethiopian. Okay.
Yes.
So even the Ethiopians I know don't do that. So are you Oriental who chooses not to do it, or is your church telling you these teachings?
I am saying that the church is telling me that we should stay away from pork.
So can you?
I'm saying that my deacon is saying that dietary laws we should follow the Jewish ones. My question is, are we? Can you call us a sinner, or are we Christians still, or
No, because we follow you. I'm don't care what you.
Because we don't follow what Paul made clean, you know.
Yeah, no, that's not me. That's not the Orientals. That's you and your weird church, which is, by the way, probably excommunicated. But if you choose not to eat something, that's fine. Or you can ask funny. Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny because they actually, in this, everybody in the church is calling us the first church. They're calling us the first church. You know why? You know why?
Was it the first founded church?
But this is Thunder. This is exactly the issue, Thunder. Like, they'll be like, oh, if you don't follow our kind of Christianity.
Right.
Are there any sources for your allegedly the Orientals believing these things? Can you give us those? But if you can't give us those.
Yeah, listen, I've looked this up.
Thunder, you there?
I've looked this up with some Orthodox churches.
Well, Benny Adam, I was actually speaking before you started speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to say something to Thunder.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, they act like, okay, if you don't follow our kind of Christianity and our tradition, then you're not a Christian.
So can you give the sources?
So I'm speaking to Thunder.
Well, we're wondering if we can give the sources.
Okay, I'm speaking to Thunder. He's gonna give you the source when he will give you the source. Rabbi, are you gay? I'm saying, because what's the problem?
Are you a guy?
He's gonna give you the source when he gives you the source. That's his church.
You're waiting for it, and you're trying.
Okay, but then you gotta wait on mute because someone
but
else is
he's
talking.
gonna wait on you.
Okay, no, you have to wait because he doesn't have the source yet. So when he has the source, he's gonna give it to you.
The source because it doesn't exist.
Okay, shut the fuck up. I can't. But I'm so tired of your friends. Like, can he just be on mute? I was gonna say one thing to Thunder and be quiet. Like, he's gonna give him the source when he gets the source. Just wait. I was telling you, Thunder, they act like if you don't follow a kind of Christianity, then you're not a Christian. But the fact is, Christianity was started by Jews. Christianity was not started by Gentiles. It was literally a sect of Judaism until the 4th century when the Gentiles made a difference between Judaism and Christianity. So the first Christians were literally Torah keepers. So you can't tell us that we are wrong for Smiler, you came just on time. This is our topic, Smiler. They're coming against. Don't you follow Jesus like a true follower of Jesus?
Wait a second. Paul did eat pork.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
All right, prove it. Go to
Script battle. Okay, book chapter verse.
Script battle.
Exactly. And he agreed with me.
No, he's talking about you going to the house of a pagan, and if they, but he didn't. He was giving an hypothesis. He never said he went and ate. Come on, man.
Yeah, I don't think he said that he ate anything in that chapter. That's his meal. He said he wouldn't eat anything in front of another Jew to promote them to not practice. And he mostly discourages eating.
He did because this is what
he was like real torn up about it. His mission was to the Gentiles. So that's sure. In his travels, he was very far away from Jerusalem, and he went to foreign. So I'm gonna break one of the laws right now by telling you that my culture supersedes my religion. So it's usually the other way around. When it comes to the Jewish law. So I'm telling you straight up, my culture supersedes mine.
Wait, you saying yes, you can eat food sacrificed to idols? I'm not judging.
No. But chances are, if I went to China or whatever, and I want to eat, I'm probably gonna eat in a place where I was there.
That's true.
If I knew.
But if you knew, what if you knew?
No, I wouldn't. No. Okay. So Megatron, would you think that?
I don't know. Brandon Johnson is a low IQ racist.
Wait, before we get on another point there. But what did Paul say in Corinthians 9 and 10? He said, or even 8, he said those gods don't exist. So what did he even
Right, but this is
because they don't exist.
But that's what I'm saying, Megatron. If you gotta understand Paul from the lens of Jesus. You can't say Paul is teaching that you can eat food sacrificed to idols, because when you go to Revelation, Jesus is saying, don't eat food sacrificed to idols. If you do it, I will spit you off my mouth. That's the words of Jesus. So, do you follow Jesus or do you follow Paul? So it's either Paul is contradicting Jesus or you don't understand what Paul is saying.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of both.
That's true.
And
be a little sprinkle of both there.
And my deacon said, in order not to get it confused and not to, get it confused in your head and doubt, you should just stick with the dietary laws they have in the Old Testament. That's what they said. So it's not. We're not forbidden, but we just keep it in that way. To the old.
Why?
They have the conversation. It's not a lack of faith. It's going back to the fundamentals.
They have the conversation, right?
And when Peter and James bring it up, they say if you break one of the laws, you break the law. So and this is what the conversation is about when it came to the law. So,
I have a response.
Maybe can't keep some of it and not keep some of it and not all of it. And I don't think Christians keep all of it.
I have a question.
Yeah, so
Go on, Smiler, because you haven't spoken.
Yeah, so I mentioned, so number one, James's point, it was James, right? I think James was saying that. James's point when he says that is that it doesn't matter what you break, you're still disobeying God. It doesn't mean that, if you're trying to be, because again, if you're going to say that this means if you try to follow the law, you have to follow the whole law. Well, part of the law is to feed the poor. Part of the law is to love your neighbor. And so if I fail to feed the poor, but I love my neighbor, then I'm in the same situation. So the goal is to always try to fulfill the totality of God's commandments. But whether you do it or not is not going to hinge on your salvation, because that's what grace is for.
Amen. That's literally why you need grace, because there's a law there.
But this is what I mean. You guys are conflating. So you have to choose one. Either you're going to obey the law, or you're going to follow the laws of Christ.
They're the same.
Well, again, even the laws of Christ, even the so-called laws of Christ, and even the laws of Christ that people want to think that are like just completely different are not laws that Christians follow to the T either. And so no matter what, whether you're following the laws of Moses, whether you're following the law of Christ, you still need grace because you don't fulfill even Christ's law perfectly.
Right. But the law of Christ, from my understanding, is basically the law of Moses, but with Jesus understanding. For example,
right. So it's got to be both.
Jesus is our rabbi, so Jesus is giving us the understanding of the law of Moses. So it's not like Jesus is bringing a new law. It's not that, but he's bringing the true understanding of the law of Moses. Yeah, that's the law of Christ.
So we don't think like he started a new religion. We just think that he just, made it better.
Added one thing.
He started a new religion. Little tweak. Okay, we go with that. He started a new religion.
But like a new religion of an old religion, right? Part of the book is the old religion.
The old religion books is actually larger than the new religion books. So
that's true.
Except the problem that the Christians have is that if we choose to just stick with the New Testament, no matter what, we have to appeal to the Tanakh in order to understand some of the things in the New Testament.
Correct.
So, because if someone says sexual immorality, well, unfortunately, the New Testament doesn't lay out all the things that are sexually immoral. And so, and Christians do this. Like, that's we see Christians going back to the Tanakh and saying, oh, well, look, God did it this way, or God said this. But then, for some odd reason, they'll just tell people, oh, you don't have to worry about the law.
That is funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. I believe that's very dangerous to tell people, hey, you don't have to keep the law of God, because throughout the whole Bible, people are dying for not keeping the law of God.
Yes.
You think suddenly God changed in the New Testament? Like, no. And the New Testament is actually worse, because in the New Testament, that's what Hebrews say. If you don't keep the law, you're gonna go to hell. You're not going to get stoned. You're going to go to hell for eternity.
Right? Eternal hell.
That's same God we have today.
Right.
It can't be a coincidence.
No, Jewish.
It can't be a coincidence that the people that Jesus, when he splits the sheep from the goats, the people that are the goats end up being the people who practice lawlessness, even though they believe in Christ. Peter says that Paul's letters are misunderstood. And again, if you take Paul's letters to any random person, they're going to say, oh yeah, Paul's saying you don't have to worry about the law. So if the surface level reading of Paul is you don't have to keep the law,
And that was
then clearly that can't be the correct understanding.
Exactly.
Because Peter said,
Amen.
so it's like, I'm sorry,
Remember
like
when Peter
Christians
said, he said, be careful so you don't lose, he was like, let me read that. It's so clear.
I mean, at least the 10 Commandments, right, guys?
you would think at least the 10 Commandments that
Yeah. There's a lot of things you think at least.
Yeah, because God said the 10 Commandments are forever, and so
Right.
you would think that would at least be the foundation. But then again, you got, and ironically, like sometimes Christians will go to David in Psalms and they'll say, "See, the law is perfect because David says that the law is perfect." Okay, if the law is perfect, then you don't take away from it nor add to it.
Exactly. No,
Otherwise, it's no longer perfect.
I've always felt that like the Christian to like complete the project is to tie off all of the ribbons of the law, to genuinely like go see how they function as their own legal system, and then show how it's fully and completely addressed through Christianity. Like I think that's the project, no?
Yeah.
But this is
And
why
even ironically enough,
Too often you're just told that's from the old law. We don't even
Right.
have to give an answer there. It's like, no,
right,
you
exactly.
do. That is giving an answer.
But this is the
Right.
thing, Megzip.
And ironically enough, I'll just mention this last thing is, ironically enough, I was watching a video and it was talking about how Christians went into other people's lands who were not like producing their crops, and what they did the law of in the Tanakh where you have to rotate your crops.
Rotation of crops.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that works.
Exactly. So the Christians went back to the Tanakh to say, no, look, this is the way you ought to garden, and it actually benefited that town.
Yeah, source of life. Definitely that book.
I found it. Okay, it says, this is 2 Peter's chapter 3, verse 15 to 17. It says, bear in mind that our Lord's patience means salvation, just as our dear brother Paul also wrote you with the wisdom that God gave him. He writes in the same way in all his letters, speaking of them in these matters. His letters contain hard to understand, which ignorant and unstable people distort, as they do to the other scriptures to their own destruction. Therefore, my dear friends, since you have been warned, be on guard so that you don't follow by the way of the error of lawless and fall from your secure position. Like, you don't get more clear than this.
And then what does Jesus do later on in Revelation? Or I forget which book it's in, where he says separates the sheep from the goats because there's people who say he's Lord,
But don't do the things that he do.
but don't do it. So
And he says the
this
work
isn't
of
a
me, your work is
coincidence.
of lawless. Like, I have never heard Jesus say, hey, get away from me because you're keeping God's law. I don't like that. No, it's the opposite. Like, that's what when the guy told him, what do I do to earn salvation? He said, keep the commandments. But then the guy, he was like, oh, I did all of that. He was like, follow me. So you follow the law in Jesus. Like, faith it works.
And in the what's crazy is David Wood. See, David Wood got stuck by the Muslim metaphysician because of this situation. Because the Muslim metaphysician brought up how Matthew, I think it's chapter 28, or it might be like 23, where it says the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, so do everything they tell you to do. And guess what David said? Yeah, if they're talking about following the law of Moses, those Christians back then, you see, you can't say that Jesus earlier in his ministry made all foods clean, and then towards the end of his ministry said, do everything the scribes and the Pharisees tell you to do because they sit Moses' seat. Exactly. That's a hypocritical, double-minded statement. So which one is it? Are all foods clean, or do I listen to the scribes and the Pharisees because they sit Moses' seat?
But Smarler, even for Jesus to be the Messiah, we gotta look at the Old Testament. The Messiah can't come and abolish God's law. Like, what kind of Messiah is that?
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. And when you look at Matthew 5, like when Jesus says, "Think not, I come to abolish the law of the prophets," Jesus isn't saying, "Don't even think about it. Don't even think I'm abolishing the law." But yet Christians are like, "Yes, you are. I don't have to keep Sabbath." Like, what?
Right. Jesus, you are the Sabbath. What are you talking about?
Sorry to uphold all the law or some of it as a Christian.
You have to hold up all the relevant laws because there are laws situated tied. Hold on. Some laws are tied to the land. Some laws are tied to the Levitical priesthood. Some laws are tied to men. Some laws are tied to women. So depending on what applies to you, you keep that law.
Start with all of the laws and then work out the ones you don't need to focus on because they don't seem to come up much.
Who's sorting it out? Everybody on their own? No. In the council, we need something.
No, we have the
You need a
Torah.
council?
We know how to read, Urban.
Average person.
Read, Urban.
Okay.
Yeah, we use our brain.
Okay.
God said, "Come, let us reason."
Okay.
So that's what we do. We go and we reason.
I'll interpret it this way. You interpret it that way. I'm like, that doesn't.
Same issue in your religion. You have different sects of Muslims. Like, you guys don't all interpret the Quran the same. Like what's wrong with you?
It's literally a problem any book that is being read is going to have.
True, but you have your smartest guys get together with a consensus.
No.
And as an average person rely on their hikmah, on their wisdom, and that's it.
I mean,
just allocate the responsibility to the group of people, and it's okay.
People are members of churches that have their wise elder teachers, doctors, theologians that started their particular school of thought on how to study these ancient secret books. And it's identical to yours. They're both just people trying to read a book because the only way to read a book is for everyone to agree on what the book means when they read it.
Man, one thing I know for sure, I'd rather keep the law and then get to the gate and then being told, "Hey, you didn't have to do all of that," than not to keep and get there, "Oh, you had to do those things."
I agree. Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah, I'd rather do too much than too little.
exactly.
That to Megatron.
We're not against Megatron. We just have a different understanding. He's still our brother.
Yeah.
A brother from a different mother, different God, different lawlessness.
Yes, the world is a kaleidoscope of perspectives, theologies, and experiences.
Does Megatron believe that he has to uphold the law as much as he can, at least based on what's applicable, all that stuff, or just the law?
He doesn't want you to get anywhere near his bacon.
The B and the BLT.
But you know what's funny, Smiler? Like, Jesus literally sent demons to pork. Like, why would you
That's
eat pork?
true. The
Why would
cows
you
get
send
killed
demons to
there
pork?
as part of an exorcism.
Yeah, that's the pork they like, man. Like that demon pork. I saw some little conspiracy theorist video where they're trying to say, like, oh, parasites are demons, and that's why Jesus sent the demons at the pigs, because they got parasites. I'm like,
You're
no.
doing too much, man.
Yeah,
And we're not saying that you have to keep the law to be saved, by the way. We're not saying that. We believe that salvation is through Jesus alone, and our justification is in Christ. We believe we keep the law because Christ justified us, not to be justified. Kind of like if you go to jail and then you go to jail because you committed a crime, and then Jesus goes there and bail you out. Now you're out of jail. You don't commit crimes anymore. You try your best not to be a criminal again. You know, that's what we're saying.
What if you do? That's human nature. What if you do? Keep sinning.
That's why we have grace.
grace.
No Paul says you're of the devil. You are of the devil.
Yeah, because they're already reformed criminals. Do you understand? They've already been given another chance after imprisonment.
Paul says you can't sin no more. One more sin, you're of the devil. You're done.
Oh, wait, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Okay, so you guys.
I don't trust Muslims and them understand of the Bible.
Hell nah, nigga, you gotta read that. If you said one time you're of the devil, get the hell out of here.
Okay, it's so easy to find verses nowadays.
I think he's quoting John. That's not even Paul. That's how I know you don't know what you're talking about.
They only quote synthesis. They never quote like a whole, like, you know.
Confusion is Paul.
I think it says he is the sinners of the devil, something like that. But that's John though.
John Doe.
What's the verse say?
Well, that's very deep. Just
I think
let's
so.
read the other sinner. Let's read it.
I'll read the verse. You brought out the verse. Better read it. Muhammad said, if you make a claim, it's the burden of proof is on you.
Break it down for us.
No, I gotta find this.
It's not about to say
The
nothing.
Muslims be breaking Muhammad's law. The Muslims be breaking Muhammad's law all the time, making claims without bringing proof. You better hear and obey, nigga.
Oh, this John. Okay, well, no, it's definitely. Okay, so I think you're right. It's actually John.
Exactly.
But that's why John said thing. You know, Paul has to say something about you can't see no more.
Paul has to say it. We gotta get Paul.
You better say something.
Not the typing on the laptop. That's hilarious. He really looking for that verse.
So that is a standard that God will use. I mean, I understand that we all eventually in heaven because of His mercy, but that's what the law is. The law, you know, it's just
I think what's the verse on
your actions against standards. If you take the law away, I don't know what's that.
Arnold, what's the verse?
Hold on, guys. Jesus' mission was primarily for Israel. Yeah, Matthew 15:24. I was sent only for the lost sheep of house of Israel. Right?
It goes against
So
Christianity.
hold on, wait. Jesus never commanded the Gentiles to keep the law of Moses. You'll notice something about Jesus never tells the Gentiles to keep the Sabbath, never tells us to be circumcised, never tells us to keep kosher. Mark 7:18-19, Jesus declared all foods clean, right? Which directly undercuts kosher laws. When the Gentiles approached Jesus, well, listen, I'm not even going to go into that point. Basically, Jesus points to the new basis of faith and love, right? That the law was for the Israelites, not for the Gentiles. I don't know what's so confusing about it.
Yeah, so the reason, you have a couple issues, right?
Yeah,
when Jesus is only saying,
Let me just finish this last point, then you can go. No. Right? When Jesus said, I did not come to abolish the law in Matthew 5:17,
Jesus fulfilled the law, completed its role, embodied it perfectly. Fulfillment, buying everyone forever to keep it. Yes, sacrifice, priesthood, and purity laws all pointed to him. So was all the sacrifice that Jesus did was for nothing?
Okay, so let's go to the first one. So when Jesus says that or Mark really says all foods are clean, even Christian scholars do not take that as him saying the dietary laws are no longer valid. And when Jesus says that you have to, or when he says that all, or I was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel, then you have to say that, okay, you're saying only the lost sheep. If you're not lost, then you're good. You don't have to worry. You can just do whatever. Jesus being sent only to the lost sheep of Israel is the fact that the prophecies come to Israel. The prophet, Jesus or God only dealt with Israel as a nation. Exactly. So the Jews, hold on, wait. The Jews have the context. The Jews know what a Messiah is, what the predictions and the prophecies are, and so he goes to them. But then later on, the Great Commission is to the whole world. And then likewise, even Paul was sent to the Gentiles. And people have to remember the Gentiles were always a part of Israel. If you are someone who wants to follow God, you are considered Israel. Even if you were born an Israelite, but you don't want to follow God, you're not considered an Israelite. And so Gentiles and Israel separation isn't really there. And then Paul, when Paul was sent to the Gentiles, you're either going to say Paul's a hypocrite because Paul said, I told people to stay away from meat sacrificed to idols and away from blood. And then he also says, meat sacrificed to idols is nothing, so you can eat it. So either Paul is telling us something, like when you're under a certain circumstance, you don't have to sit there and worry about every nitty-gritty thing, or you're going to say he's a hypocrite. And the last thing I'll say is, remember when Paul said that he told the Gentiles only to abstain from adultery, meat sacrificed to idols, and blood, law or Moses is preached
every
in the synagogue every Sabbath. So he knows that they're going to go and learn about the laws as they go.
So that means then the sacrifice that Jesus made in terms of taking to the cross, him being the new high priest and all that was all for nothing.
No, it isn't for nothing. The true fulfillment is in Christ, but it doesn't even get rid of the sacrifices. According to future prophecy, I think it's in Ezekiel, there will be sacrifices again in the new millennial reign.
All offered sacrifices after Jesus' death and resurrection. So when you read Luke 24:44, when the law points to Christ, and then in John 1:17, the law was given through Moses, grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. So basically what you're saying is that the sacrifice Jesus made by taking to the cross and all that was for nothing.
No. See, notice how the grace is from Jesus Christ, because Moses gave the law because you're going to get condemned by the law. If you break the law, hold on, wait. No, I do believe what Paul's saying. I just don't make him out to be a hypocrite. And so the law came through Moses because you were going to be condemned by the law if you break it. Where Jesus comes in a period of grace. So his grace allows you to break the law, not telling you to break the law, but allows you to break the law without the punishment. And so it gives you time to become better and better.
Exactly. So what about in Acts 10:11 when Peter says putting the law on the Gentiles is a yoke even Jews couldn't bear?
Yeah, because you're putting the entire saying, look, you have to follow this whole law, otherwise you're not a part of the covenant. But that's not the proper way to understand it. And this is why Paul says that that you don't have to follow the law in order to enter into the covenant. This is why he says that I only put these certain things because they'll learn the law every Sabbath as Moses has preached. Because you don't just put the whole law onto people.
So what about Romans 10:4 when Christ is the end of the law for the righteousness?
The Greek doesn't say end of the law. The Greek says he's the goal of the law.
Oh, that's the Greek. Like, this is what I love this talk.
Yeah, so Jesus is telling you how you ought to demonstrate the law. So that's why whenever he would address the Pharisees and the Sadducees, he would show how they're hypocrites, how they're overburdensome, and they forget the weightier matters of the law, which is faithfulness and mercy, which means you have faith that they will get back up. A righteous man falls 7 times, but he gets back up. And then you have grace that you don't have to just punish them right away. Or mercy, same thing.
Man, I think the interpretation, how you lot have interpreted it. So all the church fathers, all the history, all of it was just all bollocks.
No, we're not saying that. I just think that follow Judaic, you gotta understand it from the Hebraic perspective. Instead of putting your trust in a bunch of Gentiles to understand the text, that's just how you see it. You gotta put what Jesus says, and what the first church, which was the Church of Jerusalem, that James, which was the brother of Jesus, that church, that's the church that you have to get the true understanding.
So the law that was given to Israel under the Old Covenant, are we, the church, the bride of groom, under the Old Covenant, or are we under?
No, you're not under the Old Covenant. No, we're not.
So that means Gentiles does not have to keep that law.
No, that's not what.
And I'll just mention again, a covenant does not negate the previous law.
Bestiality. Does that mean Gentiles can commit bestiality? No. So you gotta read that in context. Can you read Revelation 2:6? Any of you?
Hold on, I get it. Let's move on.
Okay. To the angel of the church of Ephesus, these are the words of him who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and walks among the 7 golden lamps. I know your deeds, your hard work, and your perseverance. I know that you cannot tolerate wicked people, but you have tested those who claim to be apostles but are not, and have found them false. You have persevered and have endured hardships for my name, and have not grown weary. Yet I hold this against you. You have forsaken the love you had at first. Consider how far you have fallen. Repent and do the things you did at first. If you do not repent, I will come to you and remove your lampstand from its place. But you have this in your favor. You hate the practice of Laodicean, which I also hate.
Okay. Do you know what's the practice of the Nicolaitans? Do you know what the Nicolaitans believe?
No, I'm not looked into that.
Okay. It's in my PTR. Look, it says, this is Theopedia. So the doctrine of the Nicolaitans appears to have been a form of antinomianism, which makes the following mistake that men can freely partake in sin because the law of God is no longer binding. Jesus is telling you he hates that doctrine. You can't say, oh, that law is no longer binding to me. That's the doctrine of the Nicolaitans that Jesus is saying. Break the law of God, it is no longer binding.
And then why would Paul say this is what I'm saying? This is what Paul saying. Again,
What do you think Paul said?
he makes all things clean.
No, Paul didn't say that.
Yeah, that's it. Food, though. Again, but food, the Bible tells you what food is. Leviticus 11 tells you what food is. Pork is not food. And if you read the context, you know that every matter to be established needs 2 or 3 witnesses. Okay? So let's say, even if I agree with you, even if I say, okay, Paul is teaching against the Torah, then the conclusion would be Paul is a false apostle. That would be the conclusion, because
That's correct. Right?
but that would be the conclusion, because no one has the authority to follow the law of God. That's the point. And you need at least 2 or 3 witnesses. So you can't just look at Paul. You gotta understand what Paul is saying in the light of all the apostles, in the light of what Jesus is saying. You can't just take Paul and say, oh, Paul said this, therefore this. But I'm not against Paul. I just believe people don't understand what he's saying.
That's exactly what my deacon said. Exactly. That's crazy. Right. You're saying that Paul was expanding Christianity and responding to problems, and people drastically and completely misunderstood him to be committing all the laws.
Yes, because we don't keep the law to be righteous. People have to understand that. I guess you agree with me, Simon. We don't keep the law to be righteous. We keep the law because Jesus has made us righteous.
The only thing that makes you righteous is the blood of Jesus.
Exactly. Remember, Jesus kept the law. Go on. Exactly. So when you look at Jesus, so you would agree that Jesus kept all the law because he was sinless, correct? He never broke the law. Yes, I agree with that. Right. So Jesus kept the law not to be righteous. He did it because he was already righteous, right? Right. Right. So we are to be like Christ. So Jesus justifies us. He makes us righteous in the eyes of God. So now that we have been made righteous by the blood of Christ, we obey the law not to be righteous, but because we have been made righteous by the blood of Christ. That's literally
So Jesus gives you the strength to keep the law.
exactly. And the Holy Spirit, we can't do it without the Spirit. We can't do it without Jesus. This is why he's our high priest.
This is why I had to change my perspective on the law.
I'm proud of you, Smiler. You walk in and talking. I'm so proud of you.
Got so much more story, by the way. I said you got a lot of flack for defending the law.
Oh, right, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, when I would get into these arguments with some of the, it was mainly the Hebrew Israelites I was getting into the arguments with. And then there's this one brother, my brother Josh, who I used to speak to as well. He wasn't a Hebrew Israelite, but they sort of have the same position that we have right now. And I just don't think you can win the argument. You can't remain consistent. You're gonna make falling like double-minded hypocrites. And the best way to look at the information is that there's that Paul and Jesus. Like, it seems to me the main focus is the gospel, right? And so the gospel needs to be preached, so you don't go around sort of like trying to put your culture, because you're dealing with people that are a completely different culture than you. And so your goal isn't to go and tell people, hey, come follow my culture. Your goal is to preach Jesus, and then as they follow Jesus, they learn the ways of the book of Israel. And naturally, you will start to, keep more of his commandments, because you got to remember, like, these other people have laws and ways that are just not going to be in line with the ways of Israel. And so you can't just say, oh, well, as long as you're doing this, you can, like A was saying, you can't just say, okay, well, bestiality is okay in my culture, and Paul only told me stay away from meat sacrificed to idols, blood, and now I'm good. No, there's going to be things that you can't do. And one example that I like to put is that if you're a business owner, you do not have the right to make your employees work 7 days a week. You got to give them a day off. And so if you think that you can make people work 7 days a week, you're breaking the Sabbath. And if you think that you have to give them a day off, then you just
Right. And if you look at Ephesians 4 or 5, I think it's 4, that Paul says Gentiles will be fellow citizens. Which city is he talking about? He's talking about Jerusalem, because that's the new kingdom. The new Jerusalem that comes down in Revelation, that's the kingdom of Christ, when Christ is going to come and rule for 1,000 years. They're going to be Jews and Gentiles. Do you think there's going to be a section for the Gentiles to eat pork and the Jews can't? Like, no. Like, when you're a fellow citizen... Oh, yeah. Do you think, like, come on. When you become a a citizen of a country, you have to abide by the laws of that country. So if you're a Gentile, they're gonna come to the
In
city of
Jerusalem at the temple? Come on, man.
That's actually hilarious.
Y'all better stop talking about this temple shit. This is not gonna happen, yo. The temple stuff is
You're a preterist, so.
man, these things are not gonna happen, guys. Stop with this temple stuff. You guys really want this would be a big problem if they guys
Bart,
think that
tell me with a straight face that if your like family had tickets to one of the temple sacrifices and you could fly over to Israel and see a bunch of Jews dressed up as priests bringing a sacrifice, you're telling me
I would probably cry the entire time they're doing the sacrifice. I would probably go there to see if it's literally happening, but I would probably be crying.
I'm sorry, you would go there to see if it's literally happening? You're welcome.
And then be upset.
That is a ticket worth buying.
It's literally like desecrating Christ. Like, there'd be no need.
Okay. If the Pope said it was okay, would you then be watching eagerly?
He's gonna have to give me some really good justification, like a 12
the Pope is infallible. They said so.
Like
50 years
like that. Not with stuff like that. That's crazy. That would be that'll be insane if he's okay with sacrifice.
What do you have against one temple on one hill in one city?
The temple, I don't mind.
All right, one temple.
Plateau. No, the temple.
Beautiful location. You gotta love the location.
And Mount Moriah is everything. But I'm just saying. And I've been to Israel.
Well, I'm gonna just wait till I finish.
Very scared. I was very scared when I was there. You have to, when you get on the bus and you see the wall, it's like, it's very, I don't know, it's scary, bro. And then you ask yourself, like, Mom, why, really? You wanted me to see this for what?
Were you in the room last night when we were researching the Jerusalem syndrome?
The Jerusalem syndrome? What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh my gosh, the Jerusalem syndrome is a recognized mental disorder that happens to people in usually Jerusalem. There are similar other syndromes, like something's called like the Helsinki syndrome or something, but it's talking about Florence in Italy, and there's another one for Paris, the Paris syndrome, which happens to people from like Tokyo that go to Paris.
So what is the Jerusalem
syndrome? Has some interesting markers. The person gets like separated from whatever group they had when they were there. They wander the streets. They usually take a hotel bed sheet and wrap themselves in a cloak, and then preach to everyone to return to simple things in life.
Really?
And the most popular majority, the people that fall sway to this, are Southern Baptist Americans.
And who was the founder of this syndrome?
Okay, so I don't know who founded it. It simply has been noted, and they get like at least 20 a year that had no prior mental health disorders. There's bigger numbers for like prior mental health.
Might be something spiritual.
I think they need to be protected in a single university.
That's a fact. It can't be.
It can't be. See that?
There's no dualism here.
Exactly. It can't be the devil. Thank you.
Okay, it's not enough. He has to ask, first of all.
Okay, everybody, this is the Sign Tour performed by candidate John Kitover running in the 16th district to unseat and defeat Darren LaHood. From Rockford to Bloomington Normal to Peoria, we are helping to liberate Illinois one congressional district at a time. This is your magical Sign Tour.
So remember, it says that the nations have to come to celebrate the Feast of Tabernacle. That's mother.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Right, they come.
Right, so it's like how do they explain that Jesus is keeping? Right. You see what I'm saying? And it says if they don't come to celebrate it, that Jesus is going to punish them.
Yeah, they'll give them famine.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's sweet. That's right. Be there, be square. Feast of the Tabernacles.
Yep.
Need a temple to do it properly, guys.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, you can get the meat at the meat section.
Exactly. Meatballs, dude. I gotta hear this.
Do I make meatballs?
I make meatballs, dude.
You want some Parmesan cheese in it?
I take. All right. So you want to know what to do? So I take. One time I do half pork. One time I do half ground meat. Sometimes it depends on my mood. We do like 80-20. You know, it all depends. Then I take it and I put a few eggs, and I put a few eggs. I put.
Dude, don't tell me you're dusting it with that Aldi's like pre-made breadcrumb shit that tastes like.
I got the breadcrumbs. I use 4 seasons.
Breadcrumbs. He said 4 seasons breadcrumbs. Come on.
All right. Okay. That's how.
Give him space. Give him man some space.
4 seasons.
They don't sell 4 seasons in fucking Aldi's, man.
Who says I don't buy everything in Aldi's.
Yeah.
My bad.
Purchases.
I was gonna say, bro, we shop around. Oh, all right. Yeah, that makes sense, man. My bad.
Yes, everything's expensive.
Don't you come into this house and disrespect Aldi's.
You fucking disrespect me while you're talking to me like that.
Aldi's is the best. But it's not the only place. It's not the only place.
I think
What kind of tomatoes do you use? I use like the Canto San Marzano.
I use the grape tomatoes. They're made in Israel.
Some olive oil.
Fake Christians remember that. Like nothing. Bart is a fake.
Let's talk about keeping the law. You guys are talking about keeping the law here.
You're a fake Catholic anyway.
What about you guys not receiving the Eucharist? I mean, that's all you got to do. Or venerating Mary. Like, what about me? Abide by some of your.
Say that again.
Venerating Mary.
When?
Blood and body and the Eucharist.
How is that about Mary?
Venerating Mary?
You're talking about the communion, like when they did the Passover?
Yeah. Venerating Mary.
What that got to do with Mary?
No, I'm saying there's two things. I'm saying venerating Mary and doing the Eucharist every time we go to Mass.
Is Mary of minimized import in the Ethiopian Christian tradition?
I don't know anything about Ethiopian.
Well, I'll tell you, the Europeans go bonkers for Mary. Like, shit.
Like you guys are, I don't know how I
She got convicted by her law. That's what happened.
She just got convicted. That's all it was.
Yeah, she's like, damn, I know I gotta throw away the fork in my house.
Yo, she just started being a Christian 2 years ago, and then she's gonna come and tell us, like, oh, we're doing it wrong? Yeah, I can never understand that. People be in their feelings. I don't get it.
The word of God is a sharp, double-edged sword.
You don't want to come here no more because we had it.
And she even contradicted herself. She said Jesus in Matthew 5, he's talking to the Jews. But then she says Mark 7, Jesus said all things are clean. So according to your logic, he's still talking to the Jews. All things are clean to the Jews, not to you. So, she was just contradicting herself.
Yeah, it's true.
You can never really like his argument over there with all foods are clean.
Could she be contradicting herself but still be right?
Yeah, but we know she's wrong.
Yes.
Real self. This how I like it. Real self. This how I like it. You don't want to hang out in here? Too dark in here?
Put her in the Israelite room.
That's right. If they think it's too dark in here, maybe they feel like it's too dark in here. You know?
So I don't like when
see me, I don't.
I do. I start checking my pockets frequently.
I think, I don't know why people be in their feelings about these basic conversations. Like, this conversation's not even that serious. Like,
and we're not going to change your life. You can still leave and still do what you want to do. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
I am. I'm open about this shit, but I'm different about. Y'all make fun of me about it. I'm like, I don't care.
Well, I've been studying virology since 2008, and the amazing thing is that most people do not get that sick from.
You know what I'm saying? And Iran has the technology to fucking attack all of these oil reserves. And if they do that, I mean, they'll be out of business. They'll have to shut down the business. They'll shut down the country. Saudi Arabia will be out of money. Because they have all this money invested in like a whole bunch of different countries. America, you have other countries that they have invested money in. So, they have to keep making X amount of money to be able to operate and be able to donate and do this and that. And if they don't have any money coming in, and I used to think that why are you such fucking relying on oil? Why don't you open up your own thing? Like, all countries, they found a way. Like America's...
With the whole mile thing and,
Yeah, they did the line and they fucking, it was a real project on the job.
It was a project, yeah, of course, but they wanted to try and stimulate the system to the country. They tried to take away, and it was just an effort to take away business from
Same thing happened to, my dad. As soon as he got a Canadian passport, his income went up, his salary went up 1.5 times.
What's your origin? Where are you from?
I'll tell you about it in a smaller room. We have Zionists come back in the audience right now, like Rabbi.
Okay.
And we have the anonymous account that's probably recording.
It's come back. That's so fun, dude.
Yeah.
Free speech, baby.
I know, but these idiots, they're trying to find information on it.
That's how it is. You just gotta be careful. I think they're about to do a raid. A whole bunch of
people are leaving TikTok, I heard.
Oh yeah, so this new app called
that they have.
I downloaded this new app called Upscroll, but it's missing some features. Right, it's an exact copy of Instagram for right now, but you can't really do live. But you can upload videos, up to 20 minutes videos. You can upload pictures. I've been doing it, and I got I think up to 25, 30 followers so far in the last 2-3 days.
Where is the servers hosted? Not in the States, are they?
Twitter is good. Twitter. No, but the Twitter, they took away. So we have that brother Suleiman Ahmad on Twitter. He's like huge. He's an investigative journalist. He did so many fucking rooms on this against the Zionists after 7th of October. He even dismantled the whole narrative, the 7th of October bullshit that they've been spreading around. You know what the Israeli IDF did? IDF is on Twitter. They put his name in one of the rockets and shot at Gaza. That's how disturbed these IDF in Israel was because of him getting. He used to have 3, 4, 5,000 people in his space every day.
What happened to him?
They took away, so they got triggered so badly, they mass reported him, did a whole bunch of shit, and they took away his monetization on Twitter. He's got almost 1 million followers on Twitter.
Yeah,
so he can't monetize it. Yes, Rabbi, what do you want to say today?
No, just checking in.
Checking in? Is it attendance check?
Rabbi, I want to go to your school.
Let me put a check mark right next to your name. Hold on.
All right, cool.
Let me call out everybody's name. Like Rabbi, I'm here. Let me put a check mark. Like an idiot, bro.
God created the world. Part of his plan for the world was for the children of Israel
So God had Zionism part of his plan, and there's a region called Israel. He named it Israel.
Yep.
To be part of the part of his land. Is that the Torah? Is that the Torah?
All of God's creation is his name. Yo, what's good, Amir? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for coming. I wanted to give you a follow back. I wanted to see if it's a real person. You've been on the Palestinian side? You've been supporting the Palestinians?
Of course, all the way.
All right, cool. Do you want to chime in just for Reza Pahlavi really quick? What do you think about it?
Fuck Reza Pahlavi.
Thank you for coming up. I just give you a follow back.
For sure. You gotta approve.
Anyways, Kartik, sorry I interrupted you. I just wanted to make sure he's on AI. But it's a go on, Kartik.
I don't know, man. I'm trying to swallow this whole thing with God being a Zionist.
It's in the Torah.
That's something stupid. It's stupid as well, and it's probably black crap.
I know I said that, but I don't understand. Can you point me to where it says that in the Torah, though?
God wanted his children to land in the land of Zion. It's like all throughout the books of the prophets. It's the whole thing. It's over and over. King David, King Solomon.
Land of Zion. Land of Zion. It's not two different things. Land of Zion.
The reason that it comes from people may not like embrace the whole concept of God and the show, the creator of the universe, power is his rights.
Kartik, here's the problem with this rabbi character's position, right? So you have atheist, agnostic, right, coming into this land, named Theodore Herzl. The Theodore Herzl didn't even come as well. You have Theodore Herzl, the founding father. You have Jabotinsky, another founding father. You have Eliezer ben Yehuda as another founding father, because he's the one that realized the language that they speak inside Israel. Right, modern Hebrew. Jim Weisman, you had the Rothschilds, right? Majority of them, Ben Gurion, were atheists or agnostic. They didn't believe in the scripture. This guy believes it, right? And yet they established a state. It was only like a safe zone for the Jews. That's what they wanted to do. On the ships when they were coming in, please allow us in here. A lot of countries denied their ships. British denied it. U.S. in 1939 denied a ship full of 600 Jews. And their reason was that there might be some Nazis amongst them. That's why. So they denied the whole fucking ship. They're like, nope. And when they came to British land in Palestine, some of they were animosity, but some of
well, it's obvious that black rabbi has been drinking the Zionist Kool-Aid.
No, I'm about unity of people.
They injected him with Zionism. When he went over there, they handcuffed him and the man whooped him. Did you see his video?
Dennis, the bull is here. It's time for your bull rush, Dennis. Dr. Dennis's bull rush.
He was dust on his boots. She was dirt on her dress. Dead in the back of the church, both a little bit red. He said, I've chased every thrill. She said, I've run every road. They laid all their plans on the altar, watched them crumble like old stone. To become true in the hand of the Father, heart into heart, under one holy name. You and me, baby, at the feet of our Maker, learning
forgets where he leaves his pride. She reminds him who he is. They still argue over small things, but they always end in a kiss. Open Bibles on the table, little fingerprints on every page. They're raising up a little choir, teaching tiny hearts to praise, to become true in the hand of the Father, a heart in their heart, under one holy name. You and me, babe, at the feet of our Maker, learning to love by the light of His grace, wisdom and truth, making one out of two by the word of the Lord of all things. When the storms roll over the valley and the dark feels heavy and long, we remember the voice that called us, spoke our weakness into a song. I am yours, you are mine. Above us stands a higher vow. Okay, Dennis, this is your song, Dennis. This is called Bull Rush of Holy Spirit for Dr. Dennis. Thanks for support over all these years, Dr. Dennis. When you call his name, chains break off, hearts wake up, we won't be the same. You hear this, Dr. Dennis? This is your bull rush. This is a reverse bull rush for qualified investors only. You have to have a minimum of $250,000 cash. That means you got to have a minimum of about $2 million. This is the Kosher Shekel Fund.
Oh, it's John. How you doing, John? How's it figured out? You have how many?
I'm good, John. How are you doing?
I'm doing excellent, sir. What about you?
John, what have you noticed about your life whenever you meet another John? Are you happy that you know another John? Because I love all the Johns that I know, and really I love them because of our name. And if you read the Bible, I mean, our good name is right there, and it's the precursor to the Messiah. It's such a consequential name. It's almost as important as Jesus itself.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but...
Are you? No, he baptized Jesus. His head was cut off for Christ's sake. It's an important metaphor. It is the precursor to the Messiah. It's in the book, our name. I'm just saying, it's something to always remember. Even if your name is Mark. I know people named Luke. Why do you think Luke Skywalker is Luke Skywalker, my friend? It's in the book.
There's probably something behind it. A lot of those things are really interesting, but yeah, no, actually, John, you know, when there's other Johns, this is when I was a very small child. We had this church that we went to, and there was about 6 or 7 kids, 6 or 7 only, and there were 3 John Lees.
in there. And so we had to go by John Lee 1, John Lee 2, and 6,000 or something like that. But 40 of them were registered under John Lee. I said, how is that even possible? Right? It must have been a bunch of Koreans having a convention. Who knows what? I don't know. But yeah, this name is so common that I have to throw in my middle initial all the time just to parse it out. But yeah, and just the first name John, not just my last name. I see Johns all the time. Everywhere I go, there's another John.
It's feng shui. It's feng shui or gematria. 4 is the number of letters in John, and Lee is 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 is 1 plus 2 is 3. So it's all about the feng shui or the connection between numbers and names.
And one thing, John, I just launched a YouTube channel a few hours ago. And apparently, according to Bob, I need 50 subscribers in order to stream what I'm doing. This is for
pin your
link
link
in my community.
Pin it.
It's in the chat.
Pin it because then I can just click it. I can't I'd have to go to the browser, then go back to the YouTube. Food for Christ Ministries?
Yeah.
I thought it was Fool.
Well, this is something different. This is for Clubhouse only. Now, the Food for Christ Ministries is actual offline and something on the street.
See, I can't get to it. So you gotta pin it because I literally, you have to make these things quick, easily, and accessible to people that want to click. And,
I agree.
That means just go to your YouTube, copy and paste it, and go back to here and update your link. It's very simple to do. You got 22 more minutes left. Make the most of your opportunity now.
Okay. You talked me into it, sir. So I'm going to copy the link.
John, my favorite part of your 2-hour Clown House experience every morning in your Fool Room is your closing prayer. That's my favorite part. I really feel the positive vibrations in your closing prayer. So I thank you, sir.
You know what? Who started this, actually, is a guy by the name of JJ. He actually recommended that I do that. And I said, that's a good idea. And I did that. And then I added to that by opening in prayer. And I think, along with, that's why I was so reluctant to change this pin link here because I want the Bible passage, there all the time. But I'll do exactly what you said. And I have the end of the day to
you'll have 50 subscribers before you can blink.
We'll see. I think a lot of people will want to view what I'm doing, and so I think you're right. I think that'll probably happen because I think there's a lot of people motivated to want to watch a live stream. And it's not dependent upon me; it's dependent upon them to subscribe. And so I've been reluctant for many. I've seen YouTubers like my friend James is Tired. I was one of his first 100 subscribers, and he has I don't know how many tens of thousands right now. And I've known John Kerry. I've known a lot of people. Jake the Muslim physician. Whole bunch of people that they have like tens of thousands, even over 100,000 viewers now, or subscribers. But I was always averse to it. The monetization really rubbed me wrong. I did not whatsoever want to be involved in that. But this, I'm okay with because I know every dime is going to go help feed the homeless.
And so there's no administration cost for me, and there's nothing. Right? I don't even want anything. It's every single dollar coming in here is going to go to buy something for the homeless, to feed them. Because there are a lot of needy people in my neighborhood, in my community. And I know it's not, maybe not part of your community, but I'm thinking about possibly expanding at a different day to like maybe Wednesdays at a place in Santa Ana. Or no, it's not Santa Ana, but City of Orange. At a park there, very much a lot of needy people there. And I know that because I have an RV and I go to parks a lot to just hang out. Man, they're just there all day. They look pretty bummed out. I think they would enjoy a meal. So this is what I want to do. And hopefully, if you guys participate in any manner, I'd appreciate it. Even if you pray for it and you see things grow, you can feel a part of it. And I'm excited about this. I am excited about this. I'm excited about this because, like, number one, like, when I think about it and all the things that I've done in my life, like, this is what I want to do. And it feels great to know what one really wants to do. And
when it calls your name, every shadow hears it. Heaven in his voice, courage in his eyes. Dark together, full rush of Holy Spirit, breaking every chain. He walks inside. Hands on the wall.
Is that Augusta? Yo, what up, Augustus? Hello? That is like probably, you know, if you're in the military, you got to have a secret passcode to get into the perimeter, you know? So like if you're approaching, you know, a soldier and it's your base, it's like you got to have a call sign. So it's the ultimate call sign. Hello? Because think about that, like the German, the French, the Italian, like if they can't do that back without an accent, you know that they're not part of the hello gang, basically.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
It is funny, isn't it?
Dude, it's so funny, bro. I even have my wife doing it, and she doesn't even go on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like that. It's just so
Your wife, I've heard her say it a lot.
X-Face is saying it too.
What's your wife's name? Michelle?
No, it's Steph.
Oh, Steph. You know why I keep thinking Michelle's? Because I had this good manager that I worked with, and but yeah, your wife is dope. And what's your son's name? Oh yeah, Augustus Jr., right?
Yeah, AJ. Augustus Jr.
Oh, AJ. well, that's like supposed. And is it? Oh, I see.
Working on a website design today.
You know, I made one for Kennedy.
You might be interested in this. So they're going to go into beta test. If you want to become an early user, early adopter to it, I'll hook you up.
Yeah, I'm down to try anything, you know.
So find your mentor, and basically you can sign up and courses that people pay monthly fees to take. So you could maybe you can teach people about the books that you read, and do like a book reading class. And people will sign up for like $10 a month or whatever to join you.
Are you working for the company or are you investing in it?
They've offered me a position as a partial owner, but I'm just doing their web design right now as like a contract, and they loved it so much they were like, do our marketing next, and we'll give you a percentage of the company and the salary.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm just like, yo, let's just get this thing out the door because I wanna start offering classes. I got a couple ideas, so I'm gonna teach people how to use the AI video and AI imagery artwork programs. So it'll be like this week you can learn how to use Midjourney. Next week you learn Nano Banana. The next week you learn Chat LGBT.
Yeah, I've seen like
people like $50 a month or whatever, and then promote it on my Instagram and on my X Spaces.
Yeah, I've seen these types of like, university or subscription or access to this, publishing. The thing is, I'd be happy to try it. Are you using Rumble?
No.
So Rum is the ticker symbol for Rumble, and I don't have the patience. I think it sucks. I've never even been able to successfully create an account. I've like once, and I uploaded a long form video, like an hour-long thing. But I will definitely beta test, and try this app or website, whatever, I'll be happy. I have so many videos I can upload. I've been doing Sora now on like 20 phones. I have so many. Just go on Sora and type in John Kitover, and you're gonna laugh your ass off.
Well, you could a great example of what you could do with this new emerging tech is offer people a class on how to make the cool Sora stuff, and charge people, $10 a month. And I'm gonna invite Michael up. Maybe like a week or two ago, through my friend Dustin Stockton, who's in Florida. Michael is in Florida as well, and we've been in communications via email. I'm gonna invite him up. Can you send him an invite?
Yeah, I sent it to him.
My invite worked. He's up. Hey, what's up, Michael?
Hey, man, what's going on, bro? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just catching up
John.
with my
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, man. You in Chicago?
Yep.
Right on. Yeah, I live down here in Southwest Florida, down in Fort Myers. We have quite a bit of contingency of folks from Chicago area down here.
Yeah.
You're actually running for Congress, Jim Oberweis. You know Jim?
Mr. Oberweis.
Yeah, Jim Oberweis. We also have Catalina Louth. She ran against Jim up in Illinois.
John ran for Congress out in Chicago.
I'm still running. I'm a write-in candidate.
Yeah. What are you not running as a Republican?
I am, but they removed me from the ballot. Insufficient signatures, so I'm a write-in candidate.
I don't know how you guys deal with the politics up there, bro. I really don't. I can imagine that. I mean, I live in the complete opposite bubble that you guys live in, right? Or that you live in. It's nothing but Democrats up there. We don't have any elected Democrats here. Not at the local, not at the state or national level. I mean, we live in a very conservative bubble down here.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to build a network down there. I'm in DC. So I built a nice network here in DC of Republicans, and have been doing work here and there for people around the country.
Bro, I saw your fucking email, man. What are you talking about? That's kick ass. You're working with Kennedy, man. That's pretty impressive, man.
Thank you. Yeah. And basically, man, we moved out here so my wife could help him out at HHS. And she, is like a political appointee. When this gig is up, if he gets impeached or, we don't win the next election and he doesn't get HHS for a second go around, we're gonna leave, and we're looking at Florida, and I'm like, well, now's the time for us to start building relationships there if we want to be there in 2 years, full time. So
So that's really why I wanted to and you know, I saw what you said in your reply, and listen, man, one hand washes the other. We both wash the face, right? Anything I could do for you, you know, anything you could do for me, we'll help each other, you know, along the way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, bro. Yeah, so, you know, I spent so I was born and raised on Palm Beach County, and, you know, I live over here on the southwest coast now. I'm 2 hours south of Tampa and 2 hours west of West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and the Gulf of America, baby. And, you know, I'm still a licensed real estate broker, so if you guys want to come down here and purchase real estate, you can actually do it using Bitcoin or Ethereum. Right, I'm a certified crypto real estate broker. But, you know, I got into politics back in 2019 leading up to the 2020 election. And, you know, at that time, you know, I watched fake news. I thought Fox News, which is the same as fake news. You know, very conservative individual. Yeah, you know, I was a registered Republican at 18 years old, but I never got off the couch to help a Republican. But when Trump came, I mean, that was totally different. You know, being in real estate, you know, I had traveled, you know, to Atlanta and other places and went to conferences where Trump spoke at, you know, regarding real estate, going back to the early 2000s. You know, so you can imagine my surprise and excitement, you know, when he decided to get into politics, because that's what we really need, a business person to come in here and run it versus these, you know, career politicians who just up here for self, you know, glory and grifting off the system and all that stuff.
Elitism, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You know, so I went down. I had a friend of mine. We all get together and have breakfast at this little place every morning. Yeah, I grew up outside the city, you know, so it's kind of rural. You know, laid back a little bit. But the guy who owned the restaurant, he was like, Michael, he goes, every time you come in here, you start running your mouth. He goes, I mean, you like captivate the room and, you know, you get everybody fired up. And why don't you go down and join the local Republican Party? And I was like, what? I was like, there's a local Republican Party? You know, I've lived here for 25 damn years. I never knew that. And it just goes to show you how well the Republican Party messages, right? So anyway, I went down there and I met with the chairman and the secretary, and I was like, I'm here to, you know, help President Trump win the 2020 election. And they go, oh, that's awesome. You know, we need, you know, great Republicans to get help get all of our Republicans reelected. And I was like, yeah, I don't give a shit about that. I was like, I'm here for Trump. And that was kind of like the shot across the bow. Well, 2 years later, you know, they voted me in as chairman and kicked those people out. And, you know, the rest is history. You know, I met General Flynn. You know, I hosted a fundraiser for the president 2 years ago.
Yeah, I met General Flynn this year. I received an award from Auntie Angie's house, Angela Stanton King's organization, alongside with Robert Malone and General Michael Flynn. We all got awards, and I got to meet him there, and he gave me his phone number and everything.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He really is.
Good dude.
He's fighting a good fight, but, you know, like a lot of people in the grassroots part of politics, they understand their country's on fire, they understand their state's on fire, their city's on fire, but, you know, there's a big difference between, you know, being grassroots and actually understanding how politics is played. You know, that's why I think, you know, Trump does really well, because he's a businessman. He knows the passion and what needs to be there, you know, but he also realizes you're dealing with people who don't care about the Constitution, you know, and they have all the power, and that you're going to have to sit down at the table with them and negotiate with them. You can't just walk into their office screaming and hollering and cussing them out, because you're not going to get anywhere. You know, you're going to have to sit down and, you know, do some hardcore, you know, tough conversations with people.
Do you have any kind of like relationship with the existing chair, GOP Lee County?
Yeah, she's not a fan of me. You know, I'm not a fan of her. Yeah, she kind of hoodwinked us all. You know, when I stepped down, I only served one term because, you know, we took the party over.
Is that my benefactor, Luke? Get your ass up here, Luke.
Thousands of dollars in the bank.
Got my car out of fucking tow and locked downtown Chicago.
I never wanted to be chair.
Blessings to you, Luke.
To get other people to run for the chair. And they were like, oh yeah, I want to be chairman. And I was like, okay, well, you're going to have to challenge the current chair. And they're like, oh no, we're not doing that. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, you're not the leader I thought you were. You identify a problem, but you're unwilling to do anything about it.
Health, wealth, love,
truth of the earth. But the lady, who is there now, and me and my supporters,
search your heart. You'll know it to be true.
It
can't be true. Search your feelings, Luke.
And we made it so.
Join me, Luke, and together we will strike down the Emperor and rule the galaxy! No, you can't be my father! It's impossible! Is that the quote? I think I got the quote right. That's from Star Wars.
I sat on the state executive board committee. I know almost everybody.
Notice I don't even spend time anywhere else now. I don't spend time on Discord. I'm already busy doing this other thing, by the way. And so the difference is this 2 hours every morning that used to be a dread. It was like, oh man, I want to call in sick. Now it's like, oh, I can't wait to open up another room. I just want to glorify Christ because he's worthy. He's so good. And if anybody ever reads the Gospels, especially the Gospel of John, you literally see how good Jesus is. He heals. He weeps. He, basically gives us the truth. He gives us his life. Shows us the way. And I want anyone who has an ear to hear to be able to turn from their sin and seek God and his kingdom first and his righteousness.
We got one live stream. One live stream.
One will be without worry.
Votes.
All these things come to us. This is a promise from God. And he promises.
That's it. We got one viewer.
This is what
one viewer. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many phones you have on.
It is always truthful. It is always reliable.
Luke, I have like 20 YouTube live streams going, and there's one person watching it.
And so anyway,
it's very boring, but Luke, is there anything you want to say? We're listening to John Lee preach. We're also listening to Augustus in an X space called Buy Bitcoin Talk to some Republican in Florida.
I thank you that.
Uh-oh, John Lee's crying.
You really care for us. And sometimes we don't recognize that because we're so self-involved in our own flesh desires.
Like, they are bankrupt, bro.
But this desire,
okay, let's get away from
leads to death.
Let's start focusing on Florida. That's where it's
and
at.
So may we have a hunger and a thirst for you,
my connections down there, and
that we may
live started
and be satisfied.
Really having this conversation with Dustin.
And so I pray that you watch over each and every one of us.
Yeah. This is the John Lee closing prayer.
And that you may show yourself to be good, that we may taste and see that you are good, and be glad in it. And so I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. And so God bless everybody, and have a blessed day.
Oh, that's the closing prayer, John Lee, everybody.
Okay, I'm not even locking in from the position he said he was going to lock in from, and that's one of the main issues as well.
Yeah, they came to that.
It was cold as shit up there, man. I couldn't.
Yeah, it was like a snowstorm.
Bro, it was like 5 degrees. I was born and raised here in South Florida, man. I mean, when it gets underneath like 70, 75, I'll put a jacket on, so it was pretty tough for me last year being up there at that time. But yeah, Jim's dad lives here where I live. And I was talking to Jim one day, and she was like, Michael, she goes, you know, my dad lives, not too far from you. And I was like, no shit. I was like, why don't you put us in contact? And him and I spoke for a while. He's a really awesome dude. So is Dustin, Jim, all of them are.
Yeah, she's on Timcast today with George Santos.
Yeah, George was wild. We were with George at the inauguration up there last year. Man, George, he's wild, man. He's a good dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to build these relationships and start pushing my business down there. Right now, we focus on web development, social media, video, branding, graphics, marketing, and we're just now breaking into PR this year. We contracted out somebody who works with RFK Jr., getting him on to all the mainstream media outlets. So we've got that plug now. And that's like Fox News, CNN, and everything in between. She can get you on like same day, depending on.
How expensive is that?
It depends on the budget.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I mean, if you got an unlimited budget, it's going to be pricey and how much you want to be on there and stuff. But, the problem is, a lot of, a lot of America First candidates, I mean, they have really good talking points, but, and God bless them, but, they have no funding. They have, very little social followings, so it's tough, to get behind those people. Not to say that they couldn't do a good job, but, when you run a campaign, I mean, you got to have a name that's recognized in the community. You got to be able to fundraise on your own. You got to be able to get your own endorsements. That's when bigger groups, can come in and take you from, here to a lot higher level, but there's so many America First candidates that all they have is talking points. They got to be able to bring the whole package if they're truly going to compete.
Look at Fishback, he's America First, and all he's got is a Twitter account,
That guy's a retard, bro. I'm sorry, I'm a huge Byron Donalds fan. Byron's my congressman.
I think he's great too.
Yeah, I knew Byron before he ran for Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, Byron's my guy. I was actually just texting with his one of his close advisors this morning. Byron endorsed me back in 2023 when I was a freshman at the Republican Party of Florida. He endorsed me publicly to become the vice chairman of the state party as a freshman. And it was wild, bro, because most people were just like, man, who the fuck is this dude coming out of nowhere? I've done some things politically in 5 years that a lot of people haven't done their entire career, and it pissed off a lot of the Republicans within the old party, because they're kind of like, man, what the hell is going on here? But yeah, Fishback, he's got a lot of baggage from his private life, of course, the way that he's attacking Byron and all this other stuff is not going well for him. His fundraising's horrible.
Yeah, fundraising's in the gutter.
Yeah, it was reported that he raised $900. His first campaign filing report. Byron's sitting over here with $45 million in the bank. That's what I'm saying. These guys might have good talking points, but if you don't have a known name, whether it be through politics or be through your personal, career and work or whatever it is, the system, the way the system is set up, it just makes it that much harder for those individuals to, gain any traction.
Yeah, 100%. The one thing with Byron, though, that I think he needs help with is, like, his graphic design and his video. Like, he's got an amazing fundraising machine, which is, 80% of a campaign. But what I think he needs help with is messaging, and I think he needs to be unafraid of debating and really get trained up and have the proper team behind him to coach him through being able to just slaughter in debates. So messaging, that's what that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Byron relies a lot on going on, Fox News and national news and stuff like that. I get it. I mean, he's, a high-profile figure, President Trump. When I had that fundraiser here in Fort Myers, President Trump came and spoke. I reached out to Byron and I was like, hey, I got the president to come and speak. I was like, I want you to, come speak as well. And he was like, how the fuck did you get the president to come and speak? And I was like, I know some people. I'm good friends with Roger Stone. Roger reached out to the president and got him to come over here. And when I was backstage with the president and Byron, I had already knew, years ago that Byron was going to run, once DeSantis was over. That was one of the reasons why President Trump didn't pick him to be the vice president. From what I understood, it came down between J.D. Vance and Byron. But, politically speaking, Trump didn't need Byron. It could have been helpful for the black vote, but, we don't need like two Trump guys. So Trump had to reach out to the quote unquote, other side of the party, which, J.D. Vance was, a declared never Trumper, to try and unite the party a little bit. Plus Don Jr. was really pushing him because they're good friends. But I knew Byron was going to be running for governor, and when I was in that room with the president and Byron's kids came into the room after this, and his youngest boy ran all the way across the room and jumped up into President Trump's arms, and I looked at Byron and I was like, no shit? I was like, man, you got it like that, bro? He goes, yeah, me and the president are really close. So when the president came out and said, hey, I know somebody who would be really awesome for the next governor of Florida, that would be Byron Donalds. That was kind of like a setup. That was already like pre-planned. And then about a week or so later, that's when Byron actually announced. But, he's got knows who he is here locally, but, I understand he doesn't want to get into debating, with Fishback and Jay Collins and Paul Renner and shit like that because he's so far ahead in the polls, but we're still early. I'm sure there'll be a governor debate. There's no doubt about that.
I would love to work on his campaign, man. I think that...
Yeah, the people who were running his campaign were the guys that were heavily involved with the president's campaign. President Trump basically gave him his presidential campaign and said, here you go.
Got it. Yep. Yeah, I would love to work with the president's team, too. I asked RFK Jr. if I could do that, and to no avail has that manifested. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like to see Kennedy do a lot more than he's done. I'm gonna be honest with you. He came out and said, hey, let's get rid of, big pharma from advertising on television. Like they got rid of, tobacco from advertising. I would love to see it. That's, you look at the network televisions, bro, that's like 60-70% of all their advertising comes from big pharma. If you could do that, you could probably stop a lot of the biased fake news, the shit that comes out because they're heavily supported by big pharma.
100%, dude. I want to see a whole bunch of crazy shit happen, like the 5G shit. That shit's got to go. The chemtrails have got to go. I mean, you name it. I'm pushing it. I have an Instagram that has like 235,000 followers on it, and it's basically an RFK support channel. And what I do is I'm like, do you support him banning, something, right? Something he hasn't talked about yet. And people are like, yeah. And then I'll float it by his team and be like, yo, look, everybody wants him to do this. And people would support that. So then he'd be like, okay, let's work on that. And we did it with Coca-Cola first. And then we did it with the chemtrails and now like a chemtrail board. We're doing it with the vaccines. You know, everything that you kind of see slowly trickling out is a lot of it, you know, is stuff that I'm like kind of pushing in the background on the social media side, right? And getting like 100,000 people to get behind it, you know? Because some of them, like, they'll go viral, you know, it'll be like 100,000 likes, 2 million, 3 million views.
Yeah.
So,
John, what are you up to with your campaign? Who are you running against?
I'm running against Darren LaHood in the 16th district, which is like Rockford, Peoria, Bloomington, Normal. It's the top and center of Illinois. It's the 16th district, and it's been a really amazing journey. I'm living my best life, and I got to get to the gym pretty soon. Hello?
This is his first time doing it. And I've encouraged him to do it. He's not doing, like, the best job. You know, John's doing it leading it with his heart and with the right intention. And I'm happy that he's getting into local politics. And while he asked me to work on his campaign and I wasn't able to do that, you know, I think what he's doing is great, you know?
Yeah, 100%, man. We need people to step up. You know, it's critical that, you know, people that have the passion and, you know, mentality to be a leader, you know, step up and lead, because that's what we're missing in this country.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. We met on another app called Clubhouse. Have you ever heard of that?
No, I've heard of it. I wasn't around when it was popular.
Yeah, I was a beta tester on it with him, and we made friends back then, and yeah, I ended up growing a channel on there that got to like 100,000 followers, and that's where I met a lot of people in politics, a lot of people, like in the entertainment industry, tech industry. You know, it was pretty cool when it was popular, but now it's ghetto.
Is it still around today?
Yeah, it's still around today, but it's like predominantly black and a lot of like white hate on there. Like, I'll go into a room and they'll be like, "Look at this Mayo monkey," and just like straight up like white hate, bro. It's pretty crazy. So I don't go on there anymore.
You should make me a mod if you can in preservation of the human race, because that chick Make It Pop, bro, those are the most pointless, schizo, stupid conversations in the fucking world.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough nowadays. So I've abandoned it. I gave everything over to my friend who runs it now, my channel, and I'm just focused on my business. Yeah, I got what I could out of it and peaced out.
Yeah. You know, there's some groups here on X Spaces that are kind of like that. There's a couple of groups that's, you know, kind of like all black, and they get together and they, you know, basically do nothing except, you know, bash white people, you know, so in politics, you know, specifically. I've gone in there a few times and debated with them just to piss them off, and, you know, they're just so, you know, angry. It's not even funny. They're talking about liberation and
Yo, I got a quick question for you, Gustus. Did you see the new Epstein disclosures with Bill Gates and Epstein talking about, coronavirus and vaccines, et cetera, and the World Health Organization and WAF even?
Yeah, I hope that the pandemic works. Yeah, all that language, I saw that. This show put a bunch of stuff out about that.
Balance, I don't know if you want to say anything, Balance, but you've been on here a long time. It's an open stage. If you have anything you want to say, just speak up. Buy Bitcoin to me, is I'm kind of making fun of buy Bitcoin. Sailor is just like, just always buy Bitcoin and never sell until, even Epstein in his, did you see the Bannon Epstein 2-hour interview? Did you watch it? Listen to it? Yeah, even Epstein's like, you got to pick your moments in the market, but that was like a full disclosure. That was like a full projection on Epstein's behalf. That was supposed to be an undisclosed recording, and Bannon was holding that as like a blackmail beta orbiter over Epstein. But I guess Trump just endorsed Bannon. Did you see that like 2 days ago? He just put out this big promotion thing for Bannon. Maybe it was old. I don't know.
My friend Dustin used to work for him. My mom likes him. I think he's a good guy. He, might have just got caught up. So,
he's got a lot of ties to Jeffrey. He also has a lot of ties to China as well. I don't trust him personally.
Roger Stone calls him Stinky Steve. Like, if Roger Stone hates his guts, well, fuck him. I don't like him either. I'm with Roger Stone.
Yeah, I'm good friends with Roger, and me and Roger have had this conversation.
I'm with Roger Stone!
Yo, guys, I actually just got pinged to do a Zoom. I'm going to have to jump. Michael, wow, it was great getting to know you better, and John, it was great catching up. Hopefully we can all reconvene later on today. Or, Michael, I'll definitely email you back. And, John, I'll catch you on the flip-flop, bro.
Yeah, man. Cool. Good talking with you. I'll DM you my cell phone number. I'll reach out.
Sounds like
yeah, man.
Alright, cool. Later, guys.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about Bannon. There's a lot of folks in politics that just, grift. I know he's obviously not a Democrat, but, I think sometimes people get in a position, where they have the spotlight on them, and sometimes they say things, just to keep the spotlight there. I was kind of, hoping Bongino, would do something. He did a lot of talking.
But I feel the same way. But you know what? This recent, all the cache of all this information coming out, and I guess there's still even more. So at this point, so many reputations have been destroyed that Bongino could never have personally. Information just has to be released. It's not about fucking Dan. It's just one dude who's just mixed up into the craziest fucking universe of Avengers, etc. in the world. So but this disclosure is real, and not a lot of people have watched that Bannon Epstein interview. They said it was unintentionally leaked or released, but it has been reproduced and retransmitted across so many major. It's so funny, and he roasts him and he calls him the devil, and he's like, "Why would you say that to me?" He's like, "You have all the attributes of the devil." Bannon is sitting there I can't just let me record him for 2 hours, and he's sitting there pontificating about God and philosophy and mathematics. It's but it's
where'd you watch that at? You got a link for it?
Just go on YouTube, type in Epstein Bannon.
Okay.
You'll find it. It's everywhere. It's on the biggest channels. Everybody has republished it. The biggest channels, because they can monetize that. It's so many people around the world are intrigued by this. And it is an actual, it's almost like Epstein. And they sat there and talked about the global economy, finance, fiat currency, fractional reserve banking, everything. Like there's on YouTube, you can view the actual transcript. And so I was screenshotting the transcript because it's so unbelievable at the end when he starts calling Epstein the devil and he's talking about Archangel Lucifer. Like if you look at the transcript, you're like, what? You know, if you look at it out of context, you're like, what? Like you can't believe it. Hello? Anyways, you know, yeah, you got to spend some time and watch it and think about it because he's actually talking about Epstein is a pretty well-read guy. He's sitting there talking about all the world's greatest philosophers from Socrates on down and up, etc. It's kind of interesting because he's talking about the mystery of life itself, meaning how does this whole giant system work? You know, from Wall Street to the military to taxation to everything. Like, how is it all happening? You know, he's sitting there talking about that shit.
Yeah, that's wild. I never paid the guy too much attention until, you know, everything started coming out about him. But I was never really politically engaged, you know, all that much up until 2020. You know,
well, I helped.
Like, wow.
In Chicago, I helped, you know, organize for Trump in 2015. We were creating fake book groups, you know, Chicagoans for Trump. So we were very excited to see, you know, him come down the elevator and issue his, you know, proclamation. I mean, you know, this is the real solution. This is the real deal. Not this hope and change lies of Obama, who's just a fucking CIA agent married to a trans. I mean, you know, the fiction is the truth. Like the fiction is like so strange. We can't believe what's been happening, let alone we're $40 trillion in debt, 10,000 soldiers later, you know, Afghanistan with 60 billion of our equipment and to withdraw like that. What the fuck? I mean, I guess, you know, crazy. They should have destroyed everything. They never should have left them all those weapons. It's insane.
Yeah, you know, you got to stop and think about it. 07, 08, man, you know, if it wasn't for George Bush and all the bullshit that, you know, those guys did, the war hawks, the establishment GOP, I mean, we had, you know, Ronald Reagan, you know, then it started going downhill from there. You know, we had George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, then we had Bush Jr., right? And then after that, what did we get? We got Obama. Look how our country has deteriorated just since 2007, 2008, over the past 20 years. You know, my daughter, she's 17. She was born in 2008, you know, when Obama was president. All she's ever known was Obama, Trump, you know. And, but of course, you know, Barack had the first, you know, 8 years. Trump had 4 years. Barack had the last 4 years with Biden. You know, now Trump's in there again. And that was one of the things that got me off the couch and wanted to get involved politically, because I was sitting on my back porch one day in 2019 and, you know, I had saw everything leading up to that over the past years prior. And I was looking through the sliding glass doors, looking at my daughter, and she was in the house, and the little girl, and I was just sitting here thinking, good Jesus Christ. I mean, what the fuck happened to our country, right?
Dude, 9/11, man.
The media is so biased.
It's 9/11. 9/11 fucked everything up. It tilted the fucking, it reset the whole game. Like, they just cleared the chessboard.
Act and everything else. They allowed the deep state to basically come in and just take over and, like, not even hide it anymore and shit, you know?
Well, I'm talking about really where we're at now in terms of the national debt, meaning that there's no debt jubilee. Like if you're born today, wow, BOA just gave you $1,000, but you were just born with $450,000 in debt. What? Hello? Like the numbers don't lie, and most politicians can't talk the numbers. They don't know the actual balance sheet. And they don't realize that the system, like, it's got $1 trillion and 200 trillion in debt. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at scale, from the towns to the cities to the Fed, like the amount of debt. And if you just go to usdebtcollector.org and you look at, you know, what the total debt is per citizen, no one can stop working because everyone has to service the debt. Like that's the debt bubble. Because it's the property taxes. I mean, you pay property taxes. You know, you work in real estate. You see how property taxes drain. It's not an asset; it's a liability. Over 10 years, you know, there goes 100,000 plus. Bye. But
yeah, you know, our whole country's got a lot of work to do. We need to have people that can stand up and speak out and be unafraid to do it. You know, but the biggest obstacle they got is, you know, overcoming the machine. And by the machine, I mean, you know, the way the system's actually set up. It's almost damn near impossible to, you know, beat an incumbent because they have so much money backed by them, you know, not only, you know, through their own campaigns, but
but look at Ron Paul. Look at Ron Paul. Look at Bernie Sanders. These are independents. Do you know how much Bernie Sanders has raised over his career, and he's still stopped the biggest propagandist on the internet? He has raised $750 billion since just the year 2000. So he's the biggest Shylark of them all. Because did you see what he? Anyways, we could go on and on, but dude, there are black swan characters who break through, but I'm not one of them. Like I can't get virality, but you know who does is Augustus and his wife. They literally, in some ways, they helped Trump get into the White House because they were with Kennedy and they were instrumental to Kennedy's messaging distribution. And without them, I don't think Kennedy would have achieved the communication successes that he did. He was pretty groundbreaking. And then he just threw it all in for Trump. But even the Democrats in every city still literally kept him on the ballot to try to cipher Trump votes for Trump. So, but he still pushed it because he was able to let everybody know, vote Trump. So, you know, regime change is real. And I'm just like, to me, when you really think about all the shit that Trump went through, let alone having his ears shot off, and like, if you think about how the Democrats and the liberals, like, he's just one man against like 99%. You see what I'm saying? So like, it's a miracle that he is our president, just in the same way that it was a miracle that Obama, with everything you know about him, is what became the fucking president. Like, it is like a movie where the Praetorian Guard just hoists up some new schmuck, Caesar, for 4 years, because even Clinton's success is a miracle because of his relationship with Bush. Like, the fact that there is stuff about Bush being a cannibal is like, I don't believe it. Like, I can't believe it, you know? Why is it?
Can't believe or don't want to believe, you know? I mean, is society that fucked? Is a good question.
We would eat intestines with children feces. Like, is it just like a joke? Like, because it's just a communication screenshot, right? I mean, anyways.
We're in a fifth generation war. It's all about,
yeah,
you know, and controlling the minds of people.
Yep, I agree. See, that's the type of, but see, anyways, there there was a news article today, just repeating the news, but it's like proven that these social, TikTok in particular and other platforms, can actually lower the IQ substantially. So it's like not just mind control, it's time control and retardation inducement. But
yeah, it's because we have a lazy society. People don't want to put in the effort to actually, you know, read the article. Clickbait is real. They try and capture you with, you know, these headlines, but if you actually read the article, you know, I hear him talk about it. Like, for example, you know, I had a good friend of mine. I work with the RWA group, a real world, you know, asset in crypto, and you know, these guys, they're crypto people, but you know, not really, but they are. You know, in the past couple days, you know, they were like, oh my God, you know, the market's tanking, you know, and somebody said that, you know, Satoshi sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I'm like, the fuck he did? I was like, who told you that stupid shit? And then you like post something, you know, in our Google Meetup that was a post from X. And I was like, did you guys look at Satoshi's wallet? No, we didn't do that. I was like, well, then you shouldn't be out here sharing stupid shit like that. I was like, the guy hasn't sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, that would be like fucking earth-shattering news if Satoshi's wallet moved. And then just last night, the second night in a row, the same dude's like, oh my God, did you see, you know, are you sure? Are you sure that Satoshi's wallet didn't sell 11,000 Bitcoin? And he posted another article off of X. And I clicked on it and I read it, and it said Satoshi Era Whale sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, bro, did you even read the headline? I go, it says Satoshi Era, you know, meaning the time frame of OG Bitcoin people, a whale who got into Bitcoin earlier sold 11,000 Bitcoin. I go, but also read the article because it says he sold 11,000 Bitcoin for $850 billion. I go, that doesn't even like math. That math doesn't math, right? I was like, and then contradicted to this article that says a whale from the Satoshi era, sold 11,000 Bitcoin in November of 2025, right? 2 months ago. And those 11,000 Bitcoin that he sold in November was worth $1.3 billion. And the article that you just posted said 11,000 Bitcoin sold yesterday was valued at $850 billion. How did we go up, you know, 850% in value just in 2 months on the price of Bitcoin? It's like, you fuckers need to you need to stop sharing shit like this because it ain't nothing but misinformation and clickbait, bro. And that's what these guys do on X. They're all engagement. They're only trying to get people to comment and repost their shit so Elon can write them a bigger check every month.
Yeah, it's pick and choose as you please, you know. There's just never-ending clickbait, and people want to play. There's just an infinite number of hosts, an infinite number of... I have a feeling that, like, every single clickbait title that has ever been created has already been, you know, like, there's just nothing new. So that's why I say you're the fool if you know, don't realize how stupid all of this is, because television and how everyone was just completely hypnotized by the TV. Now you can reverse it and you can actually become the star of your own show. So that's also part of the clickbait, you know. Technically, everything is just a spam and a clickbait scam at this point. Like, we know we live in a Ponzi scheme backed up by the biggest mafia in the world with the greatest nuclear arsenal the planet's ever seen. So enjoy the ride, you know, but you have to choose how you want to play this game, because it is political. And, you know, the debt is political. Everything's political. Everything.
Yeah. You never realize how much politics actually plays into everyday society if you stop and think about it.
They are charlatans who won't admit. And it's the whole thing. I was looking at the top earmarks in the top 25 congressional districts. Dude, if you can bring in a $200 million contract for a special project in your district, you're a fucking hero. You made people in your district money.
That's how people just continuously reelect people. Because, you know, like Trump says, I love the poorly educated. Well, that's like 99% of the country, because most people don't really care about politics, you know, unless it affects them in their front yard. You know, if it doesn't stop at their front door, you know, the price of milk, the price of gas, they don't give a fuck if, you know, some politician uses a slush fund that's created by Congress, you know, to pay off their sexual, you know, harassment lawsuits and shit like that. But when you start digging deeper, you realize that Congress established their own slush fund, and congressmen and women use that slush fund to pay off their own sexual harassment cases. You know, but people got to do a lot better. I mean, this country's going to hell in a handbasket. You know, Trump's not going to save us all. You know, he's just kind of like, you know, the first person to get out here and really, you know, raise the awareness of, hey, look, if you guys can't get out here and fight for this country, it ain't going to be around here much longer. But on that note, bro, I got to get rolling. I got some things I got to get done and get wrapped up before 4 o'clock today. But John, man, it's nice meeting you, bro. It really was.
Yeah, likewise.
Appreciate you jumping up in here, bro.
You know, I bought a Mercedes convertible once down in Tampa, Sarasota from eBay, and man, I love that car. I should have kept the car and ditched the girlfriend, but nice chatting with you.
Yeah, man, right on. Hope to see you soon.
Okay, God bless. Take care.
All right, see you.
All right, the Co. I don't know if you want to say anything. Coin Room, hosted by John, Augustus, Michael here. Hope you guys have a great afternoon.
I'm tired of hearing Islam. Nigga, I'm 21 years old.
Stop using the N-word. Stop using the N-word, please.
I'm 21 years old, and I have never heard my siblings to take care of me all because they're less than
Nobody said you're 22, Rusty. Nobody said you're 22.
Okay, but fucking listen, fool.
Yeah, but you gotta listen to me out. You gotta hear me out as well. Come on, Rusty.
Alright, cool. Listen, bro. Like I said, I'm only 21. Since a little girl, I came here in this America. I'm from United States. Came here when I was a 10-year-old little girl, bro. They my fucking siblings because they said my siblings are terrorists because their last name Islam. So when I hear people talk about Islam, it makes me want to kill them. I don't do it.
What country are you from?
I'm from Bangladesh.
Oh, nice. But you know, Sheikh Hasina's gone. So, but
we gonna drug her. We gonna shoot her.
I know, but she's gone.
We gonna kill her. Kill that bitch.
Do you know what Sheikh Hasina used to do? The student protesters, right? They would chop them into tiny pieces. The Sheikh Hasina.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. Nobody
she was a disgusting animal. She was a anxious sort of thing. You could say. Anybody spoke up against Sheikh Hasina, you get arrested, and you get, thrown into prison, and you get.
That's how the Jamal Party works. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just letting people know. Rusty, I'm gonna educate the people, right?
That's good. That's what I'm here for, man. What country are you from?
You don't have to cry, you know what I'm saying? Just calm down.
Yeah, what country are you from?
I hold my Muslim identity above my, whatever country I'm from. Because I look at everybody to be my, part of the same ummah. You see what I'm saying?
Alhamdulillah, man.
This is why that person is so famous. And
so it was not particularly Motown? You mean the modern music that she sang later in the year?
It was from that day. It was
a
deep that I never.
Wow.
I only, if you only hear the top 40 radio versions of people, then you never, unless you buy the album and listen to the whole thing.
Yeah.
Back in the day when we bought albums and listened to the whole thing. I'll look it up.
Yeah, great. I want to know if I know this, or maybe I don't know either. But I know a lot of songs from her.
You guys, Nile Rodgers, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So I had a long form interview with him recently, and he said something really beautiful. I can't remember the actual track that he was referring to, but it was very early in his career. He was doing being like a session musician and going on stage with random people. And this one time he was asked to cover a track that was really, really like a pop track that was really famous and that he really hated. And as he was learning, he was complaining to, I think it was his mentor who was, can't remember who that was either, but he was complaining to him like, oh, I hate this music and all that kind of stuff. And I pulled him up and he said, listen, it doesn't matter. First of all, you're a musician. Second of all, you're contracted to play this. But the third thing, and the big one, is that this song has touched millions of people. Which means it's a good song to millions of people. So get behind it, whatever your personal biases are, I thought, and he kind of went, oh, kind of a penny dropped with him, and I thought that was a really beautiful point,
Totally agree. At the very least, it's worth listening to and taking it seriously and giving it a good chance.
Exactly, yeah. The woman has to.
Robert, did you say that? Listening to them?
No, I was listening to it. I learned it quite recently.
Like that. Okay.
Yeah, long form interviews on Radio 4.
interesting journey last year with You Put a Spell on Me. I listened to about 5 different versions of that from the very original all the way up through various covers and stuff, and I don't think there's one I don't like.
What do you say? You like them all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
It's a terrific song, and different people have done different things with it.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, but you see that often, old songs that get a new jacket, so to say. Go ahead.
The song I was thinking of was Donna Summer, actually.
Donna Summer, yeah.
And it was Love to Love You, Baby.
I love to love you, baby. Yeah, I know all the songs. And you thought...
Robert, have you heard the Marilyn Manson version of that?
Do you know what? I don't think I have. Thank you. I'll look for it.
Now there's a 6th version you can listen to.
Brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll listen to it before he gets in prison for some dodgy sex offences that he's up for at the moment.
So anyway, did you listen to the rest of the music from Donna Summer? It was really disco. Because this is from those days.
Yeah, when I hear a song that I like and I've never heard before, or I just maybe never heard it in that way, I'll almost always go find the album that was on and then listen to the whole album. And I did do that. This was a couple years ago for that particular song.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to I started doing more like soul and Motown kind of like
yeah, love it.
And fucking love it. Such good stuff, and it's stuff that because I was, when I was a kid, I was into like Cheap Trick and like white kid rock, and I just when you're a kid, you're like, well, this is my thing, and other people listen to their thing, and you kind of form your identity around it.
Was that the Cheap Trick? I want me. Cheap Trick.
Yeah.
I was 13 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Live at Budokan was album.
Yeah, that Live at Budokan was I had that on vinyl, and it was one of my first. I don't think it was my first purchase, but it's one of my first purchases.
My first was the Rubettes. Do you know the Rubettes? Sugar Baby Love. Remember that one? That was my first record, and ABBA, Waterloo, from my sister for my birthday.
My sister had ABBA.
I listened to that a lot.
Yeah, ABBA's been. My first was Killing Machine, Judas Priest.
Oh, Judas Priest, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know his music.
Yeah, right at the deep end. In fact, it was the first time I went to see as well, and I never quite addressed this with him, but I think I was 13 or 14. And I broached the idea at dinner table one night, and my mum didn't say anything. My dad went, absolutely not. Are you going to heavy metal concert before you're 16? No way. The following morning, I don't know what happened that night. I've never asked. But the following morning, my mum came down. My dad went off to work. My mum came down for breakfast, and she said, "Go get yourself a ticket."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she go
I
with you?
persuaded her. Good on her. And that was it. And I was Scorpions, UFO, Queen, the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle is brilliant.
And did she go with you, or did you go with a friend?
No, with a group of friends. No, my mum would never have gone to that. No, I just went with other mates, and we just became kind of regulars. And we were thinking about this the other day. It was kind of at the time when it was an affordable thing to do for a schoolboy to go to 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
But now they're like £50, £60 a ticket.
Yeah.
It's out of reach for a lot of people.
And they were played in smaller places, so you can be at the front, and they know you, they see you. It was in those days.
Yeah, you didn't have to sit down.
You tried Benjamin, but you have to try hard.
It wasn't actually trying to fix the problem of again. The laundromat, the post office, I don't feel like me without it.
I tried to be a gentle moderator and manage to get the
Yeah, you have to make up for that for a while, I guess. Be nicer for a long time. Every day, and then you know.
How's it? That's right. That's right. I don't even know what the romper room is, but
No, me either. Who's that?
I feel safe. There's another donut summer truck, I think. Are we serious?
Huh?
Where have you been?
I'm good, man. How you doing? What was your first concert, Benjamin? Was it like Elvis Presley or
Dean Martin?
My first concert, and essentially every concert that I went to when I was a kid, was the Monterey Bay Symphony Orchestra playing at the Sherwood Center in Salinas, California. Now, the special concerts would have been a chamber group playing in Carmel for musicians.
that makes a lot of sense.
I just want to say, remember. I just. Now it goes down.
Did you get punched too many? That explained a lot of things. What's that?
Yeah, it totally does.
It does.
Did you get invited to many parties in that time? Invited to a party. Like, that was a concept that didn't quite fly in my cult community.
No,
but
we know.
We did have things, and we had fun, and we had parties.
Did you have Debbie Don parties?
No, we celebrated the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, of the flesh, to save us from our lustful and sinful state.
Sinful state? What do you mean?
Chamber music. That's just the work of the devil. I would just put some tape over Jesus's eyes. It won't bother you, Jesus, but you can't see.
Do you think that Jesus hung out with Epstein? I feel like if Jesus was around, he'd be in the Epstein file.
No, he was waiting at the gate.
I don't think he'd be.
If Jesus were alive today, he'd be living in Cuba.
Why?
Yeah, no, I'm leaning with Benjamin. He might actually be on the Epstein files then, because State of Israel, insert yada yada conspiracy.
Jesus would have been assassinated by Israel already.
I think what Io was saying is
Jesus was Epstein. Maybe it's even more subtle than that.
Jesus is way too Jewish to have been left off of the Epstein files. I think that's what Io was.
Yeah.
Damn.
No, listen, for a king to be that was like Jesus hung out with all the strippers and the hoes. And then the king, get this guy out of here. He knows too much. Obviously nailed all the kings, right? So, history doesn't repeat itself with some rhymes.
It rhymes.
Steinberg.
So I have this theory that, you know how the Catholics had this whole scandal with the priests?
Which one?
Yeah, which priest?
Which scandal?
Several are rolling. I don't know how many files there are in the Catholic priest abuse scandal files. We should ask for those next, I suppose. There's got to be
very thick.
3 million files there, right? And I feel like every religion gets their scandal, and Catholics have theirs, the Protestants have the same problem. And now we have the Epstein files, you know what I'm saying?
And who made all the problems? People.
Well, listen, all you had to do, Mr. Gates, was just not get jerked off by some underage girl. But you couldn't resist, could you?
He couldn't even put on a condom because he got the herpes. He couldn't even put on a condom.
Claudia, let's see what you've been hiding from me all these years.
And when he gave it to his wife, he's like, happy anniversary, wife. Here's herpes.
That makes him such a fucker. Again, as soon as he comes on TV, I'm like, fuck this clown. Turn it off. I'm like, I'm not interested. It's like, practice what you preach.
It's hard to see that face, isn't it, and not think of the Epstein files.
Yeah, like it is impossible.
Here's how the Epstein files hit home for me. I don't know, has anybody had the Epstein files hit home?
No, I don't have it in my home.
Are you friends with Woody Allen or something?
I'll get there. I went to my local makerspace, right? And there's a first robotics team that meets there every these days it's almost every day because they're in the 6 weeks of build season. And first thing I heard when the kids come in is, so 2 things happened this week, something, and Dean Kamen was in the Epstein files. Dean Kamen is the founder of First. He's also the inventor of the Segway, as you know. And he's kind of a queer little guy that works on like weird projects, a lot of like safe water questions and things like that. Anyway, out of the blue, the founder of First, this is an organization that like only serves kids, right? Less than 18 to be in this organization. I don't know how many kids are there. Probably, I don't know, 10,000 kids, 10,000 kids in the program.
That's a lot.
Maybe more. Anyway, he's in the files.
Wasn't Peter Thiel also connected?
Yeah, but Peter Thiel has no connection to me. But has anybody had any real world contact with the Epstein files? That's what I'm asking.
You might be the only one in this room.
I'm the only one.
You're not. You're not. I just can't say who the people. Because listen. Every incubator, every accelerator is going to have this because that's how the apparatus was constructed. It's about infiltration and dissemination and spreading. You know, so you want to spread this infrastructure in the same way that Bill Gates spread the STD. You just want to make sure that's it.
This is an accident, and that Epstein is particularly vile person.
I think you don't get a meeting with Ehud Barak if you're nobody. Heard that recording, yeah? Former Israeli prime getting financial advice from Epstein.
And staying at his apartment.
Yeah, and how does that happen? You're good at blackmailing people. Obviously, you're going to get recruited by an intelligence agency. I wonder who's going to recruit you. And so whether or not he's an actual operative or working for the state, I've just come to the conclusion that, to really control the world, for better or worse, using pedophilia and human trafficking seems to be part of the game. And that's a fucked up kind of thing to realize. Yeah, the really good nations play just as dark as the evil ones that we claim we're fighting. So it's hypocrisy all around. It's kind of disappointing.
So I have to run off the business call. Today's kind of a fire drill at work. But I did want to say that my good friend I.O. is largely full of shit, and most of what he talks about is completely improbable and impractical. And this may be the least probable thing I've heard I.O. say in the last 3 months.
What I just said now?
That Mossad controls politicians through blackmail?
I mean, that's a perfectly reasonable thing.
I mean, Netanyahu is in the files. I don't know exactly in which way.
Benjamin, your name is Benjamin. I thought it made sense.
I don't know that we've, like, people have really... I hope I said that this was the least impromptu thing I've heard I say in the last 3 months. I don't know if I said that right. Anyway, I have to take off, Joey, for a bit. All right, see you later. I don't know that people have, that it has really sunk in for people, like, the gravity, like the enormity of what's going on with the Epstein files. Like, the Epsteins are, this is the biggest scandal in American history in the past 80 years. It's bigger than Watergate and, like, Pizzagate and, just about, like, every other scandal in the past 80 years in the United States. Pizzagate wasn't even a thing.
But the funny thing about Pizzagate is that they were right. They were right in the broad strokes, but they were wrong in the details.
Exactly. Like,
he's wrong in the details.
Yeah, Twittergate. I think Twittergate is intimately related to Epstein. Like, hey, when intelligence agencies have infiltrated social networks and they have mockingbirds that monitor everything. Like today's recent post, and this kind of explains why if you fuck around on Wikipedia, you get banned. Because I've done that before, trying to make corrections on Wikipedia. And you just get banned. And then today I read like a little post, and it was like, oh, we had a hard time removing your prison photos from Wikipedia, so we just hacked it and replaced it with the original photos, and now it just says businessman and philanthropist, no pedophile. Because the Wikipedia people kept putting it back, so we banned them all. And I was like, what? So Wikipedia's been infiltrated and... Like, oh, come on. Really? We can't have nice things, guys?
I think the interesting things was even in the ballpark. Like, the fact that Alex Jones was even in the ballpark of being right is terrifying to me.
I think one of the was a few interesting things around the Epstein thing. I think I've said before, I think what's quite fascinating is the royalty connection. Because here, over this side of the Atlantic, you had Savile, who was like the biggest sex offender, we've ever come across, and he was closely, very, very friendly with Prince Charles, King Charles Jr. for decades. Plus, he spent, I think, 11 Christmases in a row at Chequers, which is the Prime Minister's sort of country. So that level of access, and then you've got Epstein on the other side of the pond, best friends with ex-Prince Andrew. And I saw an interview with a Metropolitan Police Royal Protection Squad guy, and he was saying, and I think this is perfectly plausible, he was saying in order to anybody who gets within farting distance of any of the senior royals have to go through some really deep vetting in order to get close, which means either one, that the deep vetting doesn't work or is not always applied, which I think is unlikely, or two, the deep vetting is done and those people, the powers that be, as it were, just consistently look the other way in these particular cases for reasons that are not apparent. And the other thing I think
or they get cleared because of it.
Or they get cleared.
James Bond approved.
Yeah. And then the other interesting thing, which I'm sure you know, which is the Ghislaine Maxwell father, who was Robert Maxwell, who owned the Mirror Group, which was a big newspaper group at the time.
Yeah, he was MI6, so it was really, right?
Well, he started off in the Czech Republic, in Czechoslovakia. I think that's where he was born. Him and his parents came to the UK when he was quite young. He absolutely rose to prominence as a really successful newspaper guy. I remember there was a bit of footage on the TV years ago. Watching it on the news, and he drove up in the chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce with the number plate Maxwell outside, and then got dropped off outside Maxwell House. And I said, yeah, that's when you know you've got it sorted. But at the end of him, university because he either fell off or pushed off his private yacht in the Mediterranean, and they fished him out later when he was, deceased. The yacht was called the Lady Gillette, so he named it after his favourite daughter. When after he died, they realised that he'd completely looted the pension fund of the Mirror Group. There was pretty much nothing left because he just helped himself to the whole pension fund. And then his funeral was in Jerusalem, and he had a full military Israeli funeral. Now, that then leads into Ghislaine Maxwell being closely connected to, the massive, American sex offender that is Epstein, being his groomer and his supplier. She's a convicted sex trafficker. She's the only one in history who's been convicted without any of the clients being convicted. It's kind of bizarre.
Yeah, so I want to make a comment. I understand why I say this generally speaking. I understand that mathematically it might be advantageous to use pedophilia to blackmail people, but seriously, what the fuck? Why can't we win the right way? I thought winning meant winning by being better, not by being a better piece of shit. So that to me was the ultimate disappointment. And I'll say this, I wrote a whole fucking play about Benjamin Netanyahu and all this stuff in high school. I won an award for it. And then, so I was raised on this propaganda kind of. It's almost unpleasant to recall, but it's just disappointing because all the propaganda says we're better and we fight better and we have better morals, and then we don't. And then what? Right?
No, don't feel too bad, Io, because we were all indoctrinated with the same lies. We were all given the Israel has a right to exist. Anything you say against Israel is just anti-Semitism. Right, everything they do it the best possible way. They don't kill people. They don't kill civilians. But the numbers lie, or the numbers reveal themselves, right? So don't feel too bad. Literally, it was a campaign that was put on decades before. A short film in high school using footage of Tel Aviv getting bombed, heavily implying that the Arabs who did it were monsters. Literally, we all have that stain.
For the record. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that, because that makes me feel better.
Maybe they're not you, not me.
I got an exception.
But it was weird, because I went to a Catholic school as a Jew, and the school propped up the play and everything. I wrote the play over a few days, and the school just totally pushed it front and center. Which is why are you it was the Anteb Israeli what are they called? Athletes, Olympic athletes. And so I did a play about that kind of hostage rescue situation and so on. And it was weird that a Catholic school propped it up. So now looking back, I'm wow, the apparatus is quite strong. So I'm how does one address this kind of evil corruption? Why can't we just win by being better and want a mathematical answer? And I just feel myself getting angry, like Christian Bale on the set of Terminator. He's what do you mean we didn't see the light? I want a fucking answer. And that's how I feel. And it's kind of shitty, because I'm oh, incoming airstrike.
Start wearing that tin hat, bro. You don't want them to read your mind, do you?
That's why I will wear something that makes my whole head into an antenna, and then.
I'm reading an article from Morning America. This was dated to July 2025. So this is last year before this release. It says the 3-page index is a report generated by the FBI that lists the evidence inventoried by federal law enforcement during the multiple investigation into his conduct is being Jeffrey Epstein's. According to that index, the remaining materials include 40 computers and electronic devices, 26 storage drives, more than 70 CDs, and 6 recording devices. The devices hold more than 300 gigabytes of data, according to the DOJ. The evidence also includes approximately 60 pieces of physical evidence, including photographs, travel logs, employee lists, more than $17,000 in cash, 5 massage tables, blueprints of Epstein's island and Manhattan home, 4 busts of female body parts, a pair of women's cowboy boots, and 1 stuffed dog, according to the list. So, what else there?
Yeah, that stuffed dog is a smoking gun right there.
Oh, this part. In a joint memo released last week, this is last year in July, the FBI and DOJ argued that, quote, a large portion, end quote, of the records included photographs of victims and child pornography. According to the DOJ, the evidence includes images and videos, as a quote, of victims who appear to be minors, and, quote, over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child sex abuse materials and other pornography, end quote, and a large volume of images of Epstein. Authorities also concluded that Epstein did not maintain any client list or blackmail prominent individuals.
There's nothing to see here except these mountains of data. No, but it's not evidence of a list. You see, Elliot, you're just reading it wrong.
There's so much that they haven't released. Like, there's probably tons of videos and photos that nobody has seen yet, and probably shouldn't see.
Maybe we have to use a key word specifically. Like, it's not a blackmail list; it's a blackmail album. You know, maybe we're just not using the correct.
In my tinfoil hat moments, I look at an event like this where there's this massive scandal going on that's absorbing everybody's attention and all the front pages, and I'm thinking, I wonder what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Is it like the South American Contras? Is there like some sort of other thing? Like, hey, when Monica Lewinsky dropped, so did the Contra affair, right? So what did we miss during this whole shit show? Hey, pay no attention to the wisdom.
I don't even think there's any real effort being put into covering any of this up anymore. I think there's a bit of a blasé-ness around, you know, whoever kind of runs these sort of things or is involved in these things. Like, I'm on the list. So what? Nothing will happen, you know.
Yeah, so like as a person who's like trying to operate with the startup and so on, like it's gonna just be so hard to like navigate forward, pick and choose who you like. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Before we have a meeting, I gotta check if you're on the list. Hold on.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Which devil are you willing to shake hands with?
There is a public reaction, like, you know, before the markets opens, like pre-trading environment, which is a weird phrase, pre-trading. You know, the stocks of PayPal dropped like fucking Wile E. Coyote went over a cliff and just went. You just look at it, it just goes straight down, dude.
Yeah, like, and here's the thing, Elon's like, I've never been to the island. No, Elon, please say it accurately. You wanted to go to the island, and Epstein dumped you. Like, that's what the actual files show. They say, oh, sorry, Elon, we don't have time for you. And I'm like, and that's kind of like, okay, you never went to the island. You should have been a little bit more specific, or you should have just not fucking said anything. Because now that's just weird. Like, come on.
He got rejected from Pedo Island. Like, that's fucking...
Yeah, watch CoffeeZilla. CoffeeZilla does a whole thing about this. It's like, what? Really?
Oh, yeah, Sam, my son Sam turned me on a CoffeeZilla. He does some good stuff. And the weirdest thing is like, Bill Gates gets his
wife sick, so then he gets blackmailed to make a donation to MIT. And I'm like, what? Like, why is that the mechanism? And it seems like such an unnecessary web, but it's also like confusing by construction. I feel like it's confusing on purpose, so then it always seems crazy and like.
They didn't really give the full trail to that $2 million. It just seems that there was sort of a donation, which is really odd, looking without a whole lot of explanation, even though the previous paper trail that they're showing seems to imply that it was some kind of a, like, in other words, very Trump-like the way that he words stuff. He's not actually saying you need to pay me this amount of money, but instead of, I would consider paying you this amount of money. That would help.
Yeah, like I would consider doing this, but if I were to direct you, if I was advising you, and if I was you in this situation, I'd probably consider making a donation to this lab. And it's like that's just, it's, I'm just disappointed in humanity. No wonder the aliens don't talk to us, okay, guys? See, this is why we can't have nice relationships with aliens.
There you go.
Yeah, the aliens from the Jodie Foster movie.
I'm an illegal alien. Listen to me.
The aliens from that Jodie Foster movie showed up, looked around, and were like, "Fuck that! Let's close access to this wormhole."
Yeah, the aliens are worried about coming here and getting alien probed. That's what they were scared about.
If we had regular aliens, I don't think they'd actually be illegal. I don't think there's any universal law. Brings up a good point. I think aliens can come here legally.
Yeah, they're clever enough to don't.
Wouldn't that be fucking wild if aliens from Alpha Centauri were given a clear path to citizenship over people from South America? Like that's
holy shit.
that would be like, okay, time to fucking nuke some people.
Okay, they may not be able to get into America. They can certainly go to the Atlantic Ocean, right?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because apparently that's a thing. There is like a fast track for extraterrestrials from all the silly stuff that I've been reading. I'm like, what? There's and Russia has what is it? It's not the nuclear football or whatever. They have the equivalent of like the alien football, which has a list of all current alien residents. And Medvedev, the former president and prime minister of Russia, which, Russia always does weird things like that, said it like on live TV when asked. He's like, oh yeah, we have a suitcase for aliens, yes. And everyone's like, is he joking? Is he not joking? And you go down that rabbit hole, it makes that question not so ridiculous.
What are I don't really know what the whole all the statutes and laws are under, but the way I understand it, it's like maritime law sort of governs like a lot of what different countries do in space. In theory at least. Then under U.S. law, an alien is defined as anyone who is not a citizen or a U.S. national. It's not a citizen of the United States or a U.S. national. So that almost everybody on the planet was
U.S. national. Out of curiosity.
U.S. national is like somebody who lives on like the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico, places like that.
Like they don't have voting rights, right?
DC is kind of an interesting case. I'm sure Pro could speak to this. DC doesn't have there's no mayor in DC. I don't think they have they're not a state. They don't have like a local police force. I don't think.
We definitely have the mayor.
Remembering something. There's something.
We don't have a governor. Because it's not a state.
Oh, okay. That's the one. That's the one. Okay.
Mayor Browser is pretty popular too. She's like a national celebrity.
So nationals get like the really short end of the stick. So they're basically they can move around like citizens, but and they do get a U.S. passport, but the passport has to say U.S. national. And so if they want to like actually get voting rights, they have to go through an immigration process and apply to American Samoa and places like that. Whereas it's just there's like a weird class distinction to the U.S. territories, and some of them, like Puerto Rico, get Commonwealth status, and some of them are still U.S. nationals, and it's just something that Congress hasn't wanted to fix for the last 100 years.
Because it helps them launder money.
Well, some of it's just straight racism too. Like they didn't want. I mean, that was where the whole territory system came from anyway. From the Spanish-American War, it was like, oh, we can't have all these brown people become states and have voting rights and stuff. And it's just and I don't know all the details about how Puerto Rico, say, got Commonwealth status and American Samoa didn't. But I know that racism was a big part of the whole territorial system to begin with.
And it allows for extraction and illegal murders and environmental pollution. It allows for a lot of things. Military weapons testing off the Puerto Rico, lots of things.
Illegal murder sounded a bit like an oxymoron, I think.
I sometimes think of this is a weird analogy here, but racism is to capitalists what sex is to Jeffrey Epstein. It's like Jeffrey. I was thinking about the Epstein stuff. It's like, granted, he obviously was a massive perv and pedo and all the things were put there, but he was doing it as a principle, like fetish tool that made him an incredible blackmailer, right? Like the world's best blackmailer, right? And it's like, who cares which one comes first? It's kind of the same thing. And racist. It's like, oh, they really just care about the money. It's like, well, no, not all of them. Some people at the base level just care about sex, just like he cares, just like some people just care about racism, right? Then there's other people who weaponize it and make it work for their advantage. And the thing with, I think the witch hunt stuff with the Epstein stuff is a little overblown, because I just think right now what people do is they go, anyone in the Epstein files must be like a pedo. And that's just not the case, right? First of all, they are just files. They're just accumulation of what's there. And you have no way of knowing, just like when people start accusing people of being liars because they say something that's untrue. You have no way of knowing if somebody just went to the island because they're a horn dog and didn't know all the implications. Nobody has to be aware of every implication of the people that are there. Like, they don't do, it's like this, I get upset about the same thing with, like, why don't people do the same kind of stuff with Hugh Hefner? Like, it's all the same horn dogs, right? Like, I guarantee that there are underage girls all over the Playboy Mansion, right? It's just that it hasn't been reported that way, so nobody's even thinking about it. Like, no, that wasn't pedophilia. Of course it was.
But it has been reported. It has been reported.
But what I'm saying is, many people are just like me. If I got an invite to go to the Playboy Mansion, I was probably going to go.
You wouldn't Google it first? Hold on. You wouldn't Google it first? You would be like, hey, what crazy shit happened?
Sure, but there were years. I mean, I'm old enough that there wasn't Google when you could have gone to a Playboy Mansion. What I'm saying is,
okay, fine. Alta Vista. Don't you Alta Vista it?
Whatever. I'm just saying, people in 2008 and 9 don't necessarily have the prerequisite. Actually, anytime to be Googling, like, hey, let me see if there's some weird shit going on. No, most people are gonna say, let me see if there's some hot chicks going on, and most of them are just going because they're horn dogs, and that's probably the bottom line. Now, granted, he's way worse than that, and everybody now knows that. But I'm sure there were like sports athletes, musicians, just like going to a Diddy party. Back in the day, going to a Diddy party was just where you went because there were lots of chicks, and because you were trying to increase your networking status, right? Not everybody was there for the chicks, and not everybody was there for the network. So if you're trying to be around some of the most influential people in the world, it doesn't make you a pedophile just because you went to Epstein Island, right? Now, I don't know anybody who's ever been to Epstein Island. I've sure never been to Epstein Island. I didn't even know what it was, right? But what I'm saying is, you can't just witch hunt everybody who's in that thing. Like, I fear that people did.
So
Counterpoint. I was in film school in 2001, 2002 in Santa Barbara. And there had been an article on CNN about an island where the wealthy could go and party, and because it was international waters, there was no law. And I remember talking to people about this, where like, they said, oh, if you get invited to one of these parties, are you going to go? It's like, well, maybe, like, but I'm not going to touch anybody. But then I thought about it, and it's like, no, I'm not going to go. Like, that's just a setup, right? So, like, even in 2002, people kind of knew already what was up.
Look, if you want to look into it, you'll find it. So, like, for example, I went to the Seoul Symposium thing for the UAPs. I got a security briefing by a security firm to tell what the fuck could happen there. And like, hey, all these things might happen. You might run into these people. Beware of extortion. Beware of people trying to figure out stuff, blackmailing you. All that shit came up. It's just a matter of due diligence. And of course, we're speaking in this day and age, so I think that's also a very appropriate point, that we have the benefit of better search now, because even maybe back then it was difficult to even do Google search normally if you didn't know the syntax, like put things in quotation marks and then use the plus operator and things like that. So I remember it being difficult, but it's not impossible. But yeah.
I think the other counterpoint as well, Pro, is that I totally agree with what you said, but the other side of it is what I said before, is that Ghislaine Maxwell is a convicted sex trafficker and groomer, and to suggest that she did enough of that to get 20 years, but not enough to have any clients at all, is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, we want to blackmail them.
I've been to enough crazy parties and after parties, and probably way more than the average human. Better now, if you want to do the due diligence. But most people come from a hip hop after party aren't trying to do the due diligence, and most people trying to get their rocks off aren't trying to do the due diligence either. They're trying to see how discreet it is, right? Like how easy they get in and out. Now, obviously, scores of people that, right? I'm just saying you can't throw everybody in that thing. But like, are they were Epstein files? Oh my God! Like you can just see where this is going.
Stewart last night. I sometimes watch the Daily Show every now and then. I watched one Jon Stewart thing because, like, he said, "I'm in the Epstein files," and then when he gets to the material in projects, some future projects, and one person's like, "And we should have somebody like Jon Stewart to narrate and discuss the proceedings of the event or whatever in the film or whatever project or whatever it was." So like, there's cases like that too, and we got to be, I mean, there's so much shit in there that it's a massive like gargantuan task to go through. Even like for like an army of like FBI agents, it's like a Herculean effort to go through all this stuff. Also, I want to say that I don't know if this was already mentioned, but France prosecutors, like French prosecutors, have raided offices of Elon Musk. Musk is the headquarters in France. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but
no.
So there's some. This was originally written in French, and this is translated to English. So there may be some errors here, but the crimes being investigated as part of the raid are conspiracy to illegally administer an online platform, fraudulent extraction of data and forging information regarding the operation of an IT system, accessory to possession of pornographic materials involving minors, conspiracy to act as accessory to distribution, offering, or facilitation of the aforementioned content, representative slander, i.e. maliciously making a picture of a person.
Yeah, he's getting in trouble for the deep faking stuff.
Yeah, and then the last one is denial of crime against humanity. And the last four, it says the last four are recent and links to the Grok.
Yeah, because like you can,
I don't know, that's
like Grok can declothe you, right? So you can post a photo and then just say, "Hey Grok, here, can you change my shirt? Actually, can you smaller. Actually, hold on. Let's go to the sun, and you slowly just undress yourself through a series of prompts. So that's a thing in Grok, and they have not secured that. Like, it's kind of wild.
I think there were issues related to that and it being used to basically generate child pornography, and there wasn't enough safeguards to stop that from occurring. And I think that's still an issue that hasn't been dealt with.
Yeah. He's like, oh, we want, not too much moderation. I'm like, why don't you just, hire people to make sure these things are reviewed more? Like, I remember a few years ago, Canada did an investigation on Facebook, and they found that there was only one representative who worked in Canada for all of the censorship and problems in Canada. And the guy was interviewed live on air, and he's like, yeah, it's just me. And so that kind of, staff, you're not going to fix anything. You're just gonna, you're putting in the minimum effort. And so, in Europe, there's, a lot more, the laws for slander and so on are higher. So if you make, an image of Keir Starmer doing something stupid or whatever, or sorry, not Keir Starmer, but any of the European representatives, you can get in trouble because there's no necessarily free speech in Europe, so.
Quick shout out to Al.
Alfonso's joining the atheist house.
Oh, you bet.